Appreciate everybody at Pivot Socks. Go to getpivot.com. That's getpivot.com. Appreciate everybody over there who supports the podcast. Like I said, you buy a pair of socks. You support an episode of this podcast. Go to getpivot.com. You see it on the screen. Use the promo code SneakThisPodcast. Get free shipping and get 20% off. Look, man, you use the code, you get something off, and you get free shipping. That's all I know.
I need to buy something.
Man, just go to getpivot.com, get yourself some crews, some ankles, some something, man. Like I said, support the episode of this podcast. Yo, Sneak This Podcast, episode 312. George, Don, Greg, back in the building.
What's good?
Now, look, everybody listen to this podcast. The structure of this podcast is going to change today. Let me tell you something. If you don't want to hear about our views or opinions or anything regarding Kanye West interviews, then you might as well cut it off now. Because, I'm sorry, it's going to happen. I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I asked Don to come on the podcast, even though I told you I never would again because I said you're already fam.
I was laughing when you too. Want to. I was like, bro, when I saw the text, I was like, ooh, he asked that. He called. Let's do it.
But I did want to have another person in the room who has strong opinions about Kanye, who I feel can separate his opinions and feelings about Kanye to have certain discussions.
Oh, for sure.
And it's black. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I don't want to get. Look, let's get into it.
I was going to say, start it up. Set the tone for us.
So, let me ask you guys.
Set the tone for us.
Let me ask you guys, and I want to make this clear, too, and I put it on Twitter. I haven't listened to anything sneaker podcast related or any other content with regards to Kanye West. I haven't listened to Joe Budden. I haven't listened to Roy and Mal. I haven't listened to We're Just the Messengers pod. I haven't listened to anything only because I don't want to accidentally take anybody else's views.
Same.
I don't want to be anything else. Now, did anybody in here watch the interview?
Which interview are you talking about?
I'm talking about Drink Champs.
Oh, I watched like half of it.
Okay.
And then, yeah, because it's like 3+ hours. So I watched half of it, and then I watched like the remaining clips of the stuff I didn't see. So in totality, yes, but I didn't watch it from beginning to end.
Okay. And let me, so with the podcast, okay.
Did you watch it?
Oh, yeah. I watched it. Okay.
Just making sure.
Let me say this first off, just right off the bat. And it's anti-Semite, right?
Anti-Semitic.
Semitic, okay.
Yeah.
Kanye West right now is on Drink Champs. It was very anti-Semitic.
1,000%.
It's not even a question. I want to make sure that's clarified before anything goes any further, before anybody misconstrues anything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of platforms need to do that right off the bat. Say your stance right off the bat, then you get into it.
Yeah.
It was some of the most. I couldn't even believe it. That's how bad it was. And it opened up a light to me with regards to the media, social media, a lot of things. Because let me tell you this. Actually, let me say this first. This is what a lot of people need to understand too, and this is about our podcast. This is about podcasts in general. A podcast is an extension of like the radio world. Okay, we're not FCC regulated. We're nothing like that. If Kanye West would have went on a radio platform and the radio station decided to let that keep going without shutting that down, they would have got fined insane amounts of money
immediately.
If they were smart, they cut this off, done.
Yeah.
People need to, and I'm talking with regards to Drink Champs and Nori and DJ Effin. People need to understand and realize there's no such thing as a safe space in a podcast. George talks about it all the time. The best thing you could do when you have a guest on a podcast is just let them talk. Mm-hmm. Let them talk. Let me tell you something. You come on a podcast, you ain't safe. All right? Now, if you the homie, if you come on here and you say something wild, hey, man, I'll go take that out for you. Or you say, hey, Greg, I got that for you. But if I don't know you and you're going to come on this podcast and you say some wild stuff, I'm going to let it fly. Sorry, buddy. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Now, I have only done it one time for somebody who asked me to take something out, and that was Riff. When Riff came on, they had let some information go about another store that they didn't want to because they're friends with them, and they were like, I don't want to make it seem like I was talking junk. I took that off for them. There's been times I've taken out stuff George says, stuff I've said. I've not posted entire episodes for stuff Simple has said before. And that's facts, okay?
I think I remember that because he hit me that night. Yo, you don't believe what we went talked about.
And this is what I want people to know that you come on my podcast. Once you say y'all want to come on the podcast to record, you're responsible for yourself. I don't view Drink Champs, Nori and DJ Effin as people are mad at them and blaming them for airing that and doing that and stuff like that. Fam, Drink Champs is a podcast based on getting entertainers high and drunk to, for lack of better term, for this generation term, spill the tea.
Yeah.
Spill hip hop tea. That is not a platform of like intellectual knowledge. And Kanye West may be the only person who's gone on Drink Champs to try to be intellectual, but he's not. There's other intellectual people that have been on there, Swiss Beats, other people. I don't listen to Drink Champs at all. Every once in a while, I'll like a little bit here and there. I don't like the way the audio is. And sometimes I love Noriega as a person and telling stories about hip hop and stories about New York and stuff. On the podcast, you know, he's kind of a moron. It's
hard to listen to.
You know, somebody be like, "Yeah, I bought a new car yesterday. Give it up for a new car. Give it a new car." I'm like, "Give it up for a new car."
Interrupting all the time.
Interrupting all the time. The stuff Kanye was saying was, I mean, flying over Nori's head. I mean, it was just blazing over it. It wasn't until probably about the second hour where he started saying like, "Hey, buddy, you're getting a little wild with the Jewish stuff." A lot of people don't know this about YouTube, right? YouTube, you can go click a few things, get the transcript. I read the transcript. I listened to the podcast and I read the transcript. It puts in English every single thing that's said. You can switch the language or whatnot. He said Jewish or Jew over 100 times. He did. I took out all the DJ F and Noriega saying like, "Hey, we love Jewish people. Hey, chill out about Jewish people." Like, they said it over 100 times. It was a total for the episode about 119 times.
That's wild.
Kanye alone, 100 plus. Wild. Okay. He's basically started off the podcast talking about the White Lives Matter shirt. He said that he wanted to put those out. Don't remember the designer's name or the guy who was going to put them out. Said, yeah, no. Don't remember why he said no. Don't know if it was about White Lives Matter. Don't know why, but he said no. Kanye immediately at that point says, "See, that's Jewish people trying to shut you down." And fam, like, and then from there it just took off.
Yeah.
Let me say this about the interview within itself. And this is me taking away how I feel about Kanye stuff. It was a really good interview. I'm not going to lie to you. It's exactly what you want in an interview. There was I haven't seen Kanye laugh like that. I couldn't tell you. I mean, he had some like belly grabbing laughs, you know, and he was genuinely funny. He was charming. He was all of the above if you exclude the George Floyd stuff and the anti-Semitic rhetoric.
Yeah.
It was like a phenomenal interview. It was funny. Now, of course, it was a lot of hypocrisy. It was a lot of going backwards. It was a lot of lying. It was a lot of things that involved in that podcast. The one thing that, like I said, it was one of his best interviews, okay? And I wrote down some stuff that he said. He said, and this is about Ice Cube, he said, "Cube really set me up for this. You influenced me to get on this anti-Semite vibe." Okay. That's a direct quote.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I listen.
And the fact that he views it as a vibe and doesn't understand it, like, it wasn't an interview that you had to go watch and like pick out things. He was saying, "I'm on that vibe right now. I'm on that time right now," over and over and over. I thought I really couldn't figure out his direction and what he was thinking. And remind me I don't know if you got to the part where he talked about the Adidas 350 and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to talk about that at the end too.
Okay.
A weird person. Okay. What was I gonna say? So media, social media, and stuff like that. Well, first of all, what did you think about the interview for what you saw?
No, so really quick, it's funny that you had said that when you have people come to the pod, right? If they're not the homie, everything flies, right?
It flies.
But if they're the homie, you should like, and they say, "Hey, can you take this out or whatever?" You'll do that because of the homie. Nori and Kanye are like really, really good friends. So Nori dropped the ball as a friend by allowing all that stuff to go out, in my opinion. Because
yeah.
And granted, I know, like you said, like I know why Nori does it. He does it to get people drunk, high, and all that, so they can, like you said, spill the tea and get the clickable moments and all of that. Cool, I get it. But you or DJ Effin, especially DJ Effin, because DJ Effin usually is like,
he's pretty level-headed
and sober for the most part.
Right.
They should have known once that thing ended to go, "Hey, we shouldn't let some of this fly, or we shouldn't do it because Kanye is our guy." You know what I mean? So the fact that they allowed all of that to go in its entirety, to me, is wild. So I can't call it a great interview because I feel like on both parties, they were very irresponsible with what Kanye was saying. Kanye, everything he was spewing, 100% irresponsible to me. And then
100%.
On the flip side, them allowing him to say that and then them allow to put it out 100%. Bro, they didn't edit nothing out.
Now, they did give him pushback. It took them a while.
Do we call that pushback? Because I watched that, and that was I'm drunk pushback. And to me, that was Nori going, you're my guy. Come on.
He was saying like, hey, man, we love Jewish people. We love Jewish people. We love the community. We love all that. Kanye, we're trying to get you together with the Jewish people. He was trying his best.
In a joking manner.
The problem is it's a Nori. You know what I mean?
That's my point. That's why for me, I couldn't take anything, especially Nori, was saying serious. So at that point, I removed Nori out of it, and I look at DJ Effin. They've had other interviews before where DJ Effin like gets things on pace because almost, and this is why I don't watch Drink Champs either, because Nori, like you said, love Nori, Capone and Noriega, classic albums,
classic.
War Report, stop it,
classic.
So I love Nori, but in terms of like watching him interview, I don't like how his interview style, especially once he starts drinking like crazy.
Oh yeah,
and he stumbled to the point where DJ Effin has to stay sober and go, hey man, this is what we were talking about, or let's get back to it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking at him at this point and saying, hey my guy, like when are you going to try to like divert the conversation, or when are you going to like maybe give him the look and say, hey, something, you know what I mean? The fact that they just allowed that. That's me. That's watching it. That's why I didn't watch it all.
And you're right. And there were moments where they tried, but I think you would try different if you talking to A$AP Rocky. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They knew the moment. You know the moment. I mean, that morning it dropped. One of the first things that Nori tweeted out was the views is at the views
for sure.
Well, he did it before that too. He did it the day before. He was like, he said we have Kanye episode coming tomorrow or whatever. So he was already promoting it.
Like,
and that's what I don't like. So they had this footage well before he starts promoting it. That's the part I don't like. It's not the whole, oh, damn, we messed that up. I wasn't thinking. Nah, fam, you guys saw the playback. You were sober once you saw the playback. You knew what you were doing when you sent that tweet. Yo, it's about to go down. Stop it.
Now, here's the thing, too, about that, because that's a great point, which I didn't even think of about them. Because
Noriega knows what he's doing. He's trying to get paid. I mean, there's no mistake in that.
He's trying to get paid. But Drink Champs, so going back to the podcast,
okay.
A lot of people talk to me and talk to George at times about the podcast as if like they think we're like paid and this is NBC, like because it's done in such a professional manner. You would think, I mean, you come in here, you see lights and cameras, you think like, dang, these cats got something. We got nothing. Pockets inside out, bro. Ain't got nothing.
As fat guys, we're over here eating free snacks. You know what I'm saying?
We treat free snacks in this studio like we ain't ate in years. Okay?
That's facts.
I mean, I came in to get a lemon water seltzer, like I told you. They didn't have no more.
Didn't know what to do.
I couldn't believe it.
No
like,
Celsius,
how dare
spring
they?
water.
Like, how dare they not have spring water for me?
Listen,
I was looking for some pretzels, everything. I'm like,
last time I came, they had donuts. I ain't seen no donuts here. I'm like, oh, y'all sleeping.
But that show is actually produced. It's got producers and like TV cameras.
Exactly.
Like it's somebody doing this. So did DJ Effin and Nori watch it after? No, but they thought they had to think like, I don't know about that. Somebody, that to me is one of those examples, and you bringing it up is like one of those prime examples of somebody in this room should have been like, yeah, no, I get it. It's Kanye, and this is, I mean, podcast, what podcasts are based off of? Hot takes and opinions. That's what a podcast is.
Yeah.
It gives you the opportunity to say whatever you want. It's partly why the world is trash now. Social media, podcasts, a lot of stuff, because you get to go in there and do whatever you like with zero regulation, besides if the social media will blow you up.
Yeah.
They can blow you up good virally. They can blow you up bad virally.
I mean, honestly, cable TV is getting that way too, or has been for 10 years.
Facts. During that era of the Trump and all that stuff, I wouldn't even allow news on in my house because I was only watching it to get angry. I wasn't watching it to be informed or find what was new or anything. I was watching it just to be like,
what else is going to say to piss me off? Yeah.
Cable news ain't doing it to inform you. They're doing it to get paid.
And I told people that all the time. I said, regardless of all the stations who were always against Trump, Oh man, they wish Trump was back in there because woo, them ratings was like this. I mean, they were coming out with new shows a week, mini-series. Mad content was being created just off of that stuff.
Yeah.
Trump do one thing stupid Monday, it's a 3-part series on Sunday. It's like they couldn't wait to talk about it. When I said like about the media and the influence, I will tell you this. You could tell which media blogs and social media posts didn't actually watch it. You could tell just how they wrote it because there were some things that he said in it that were way worse than the stuff that they post and talked about.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, there was something. I mean, the one quote he said, he said, the one thing a Jewish person will say is, this is mine, with something a black person built or that any company built, and they'd be like, that's mine now. And I'm like, fam, are you okay? Like,
okay, so this is just a question in general. Is he associating all white people with Jewish or what?
No.
Because there's plenty of like people that I feel like he's aiming at who are white but got nothing to do with being Jewish. I don't understand the connection.
I don't think.
Like
he hates
that Bernard man, used to be the head of LV. So that man's not Jewish.
I think it's completely
he's French and.
I think it's separate.
In his head, it's separate because number one, he's trying to push this the white lives matter T. So he couldn't on Monday say white lives matter, then on Tuesday say, but I hate all Jewish people. So that's why I'm asking that. No, I think
weird.
For him, it's actual separation. To answer your question, no, I don't think he's going after white people. He's going specifically Jewish race.
Because he said, this is how he described, he said Jewish people, Jewish culture, Jewish media, Jewish influencer. He said Jewish in front of all the layers of businessmen. He said Jewish everything. It wasn't like white people. It was all Jewish this, that. He didn't say just the media, Jewish.
But we have no idea why he thinks that.
Well, I mean look.
Well, we have a general idea because he's losing power. He thinks his money, and we could talk about that later, but
No, I mean like why does he think that Jews are behind this? Like I don't. That's the dots that's not connected for me.
The little interview with him the other day where he pulled up on his phone like the chart of all the Jewish CEOs of all the companies.
Oh, see, I didn't see that one.
It's literally like it was outside of some restaurant or something. I don't know, but it was TMZ or somebody got him, and anytime there's a camera in front of his face, he starts talking. Right. So he got right back on his rhetoric. This is literally the other day. And he was saying something. He goes, hey, guys, look. He gets his phone, and he pulls up. He goes, here's a chart of all the companies with Jewish CEOs. And he named off like 90 companies. So he really thinks that Jewish people take over everything. He's like NBC, CBS, Disney, Google, YouTube. Like he's naming them off, every single thing. And so to answer to that, that's why he thinks the Jewish race specifically takes over everything. He's like Adidas, this and that, da-da-da-da-da.
He said that he wants Jewish kids to go to their fathers and say, Dad, what did our people do to the black community? Why is Kanye so mad at us? He specifically left it in the Jewish,
So I read a lot about it, like because it's been going on since Kanye started the rants, is like the black Israelite thing and whatnot. So I can understand from that angle him taking that and making that a thing.
No,
but it doesn't sound like that's what it is. It sounds
you can't do that either.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that I back it. I'm saying I can understand why that would be his angle, because then you can tie something together.
Now see,
I don't understand how you can tie anything together without that.
That right there is because the entire podcast he kept calling himself a black Jew. I'm black. If you guys know anything, black people are Jewish as well. I'm a Jew. These are my people as well. He's using it.
Judaism is a religion, first of all.
He's weaponizing historic stuff from BC and whatever in order to feel like it's okay for him to say this. I told somebody this. I said, I have a person at work who did Ancestry.com, and it said that they're 3% Nigerian. Do you think they're going to pull up and start saying the N-word? Like, you don't get to claim a part of yourself through, I'm talking a BC of history. And you get to claim that today so you could get on here today to say all this foolishness and irresponsible stuff. Now, like George said, there's a lot of people on social media like, oh, people just don't want to hear the truth and people don't want to hear facts. Let me explain something to you. Whether you believe Kanye is right, wrong, indifferent, irresponsible, whatever the case may be, it is known that it is dangerous talk. Mm-hmm. It is dangerous. Yeah. All right. And I'm going to get to why it's dangerous, but let me talk about the media aspect of it first. Because like I said, there was a lot of stuff on social media and blogs and stuff like I said. You could tell that who watched it, who didn't. They picked out certain things. It was a lot of their own opinion and point of view. I was like, all right. I will tell you this. The interview, like I said, had a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, a lot of serious, a lot of laughs, serious, weird, funny. It was a lot of ups and downs. It was an interview. It was a well-structured, what you would want from a guest. Laughs, seriousness. So it was all of that.
Yeah.
If you would have never watched it, just saw clips on social media, saw this, you would have just thought he went up there and was just like, and an angry point of view of it. It wasn't like that throughout the interview. It was like that in moments. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this to say this because when I was in D.C. working, I remember there was this girl I knew that lived in D.C. She was working an intern for MSNBC.
Okay.
That's who she was doing. CNN or MSNBC or Fox News, one of them, one of the news ones. And she was an intern, student, person thing. And she said, I'm sorry, you know what? It was ABC. Sorry, she worked for ABC.
Okay.
And she said, you know, we were talking about like what I did. I was on Capitol Hill doing stuff with lobbyists and stuff like that. And she was like, yeah, you know, they come in every single week and they get these assignments. Now, this is 2006. I remember specifically what she told me. She said her assignments are homeboy from Seinfeld that jumped on that comic stage and started yelling out the N-word.
Yeah, Kramer, whatever. I don't know.
Britney Spears,
Richards, yeah.
Britney Spears driving with her baby in her lap. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt having a baby, but her assignment was to keep an eye on Jennifer Aniston to see what she says and how she reacts. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you this about this Kanye thing. It was broken down and dissected super duper early because I know Kanye, I know media outlets and stuff like that. There's somebody like, hey, you know what? Kanye has been out here. Just keep an eye on him. Follow all his accounts. Keep an eye on him. Check on, see what he does first so we can be first to break this stuff down and dissect it. Yeah. I mean, stuff was broken down and dissected on other platforms. I'm talking within a few hours of it being posted. Like they knew it was coming. Nori pre-promoting it, like you guys said. Oh, we wait. I mean, they got there. They waiting on YouTube for that to drop. They refreshing their apps to wait for that to drop to dissect it and do that. That's his own fault. He needs to understand that. All right.
I was gonna say, I'm like, so where? Because so far I'm like, yeah, because he does tweets like, hey, when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. So yes, the media is going, oh, he's going DEFCON 3. Of course we're gonna wait.
They are waiting on and he talked about the entire time about Jewish media influencing and creating this narrative. I'm like, fam, nobody has to create a narrative about you, and you're always the one in charge and leading the charge on views about you. We don't want to call you crazy and treat you like an outsider or a pariah or a weird person, but you keep doing these things in the name of, I'm so smart, I know I'm gonna free my people. He just kept saying he's gonna free his people and stuff like that, and he just kept talking about dying, you know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, he's acting like a person that doesn't have much longer on this planet. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's very Tupac-ish in the feeling of it.
Okay.
Not the same.
I was like, whew.
Not the same strength. No. Let me tell you something. I wasn't the hugest Pac fan growing up, but boy, a Pac interview?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, no,
Hey, it didn't even have to be a Pac interview. A Pac snippet, just walking outside. Different.
Yes.
And it was responsible, and it was in the public eye, and it was understood by everybody. I think white people, Mexicans, black people, everybody understood what Pac was saying because it was factual. It was stuff. It wasn't just, it didn't come from a place of he's hurt. Everything from Kanye is like he's hurt all the time. Social media, same thing. You know, he talked about the social media influence and the Jewish media and all this stuff influence to creating this narrative. When Kanye West used social media the entire summer to trash his ex-wife, to trash Adidas, trash Gap, trash Pete Davidson, trash every single person, cry for help, post private text messages, private DMs with people reaching out to help him, talk to him and stuff like that. He used it as a weapon and a tool for himself, but he's just so upset and bothered at the fact that people use it against him. And I'm like, fam, you need to understand what you're doing and what you're saying. Like, you don't even understand that you're no different than everybody else.
No.
You use stuff to your advantage. When you feel down and no one's got your back, you're the blackest person on the planet. Yo, I'm a black man. Help me out. When you feeling like you high and almighty, you in Paris, trying to impress, people who don't care about you. But then when everybody gets down on you, I'm a black man, and they try to take my kids. He just kept talking about the Kardashians kidnapped his kids in broad daylight. Let me explain something to you. You and I got kids. Mm-hmm. You and I got homies, and you got homies that got kids. We understand baby daddies and baby mamas and stuff. You're not going to convince me that, well, for whatever reason that day, when Kim Kardashian or whomever took her kids and wasn't in contact with him or reaching out to him or let him know where she was, I'm pretty confident it's because of how he was acting.
1,000,000%.
Like, he legit said that on the podcast about 8, 9, 10 times about how nobody cared for him and told him where his kids were. His kids were kidnapped in broad daylight, that nobody would help him. He even said about Nori and DJ F, and he said, you guys didn't even say nothing. Like, we're like, fam, what are you talking about?
Well, it was like just 24 hours prior to and I don't remember much of that time, but like 24 hours prior to you saying your kids were kidnapped for their birthday, you were shitting on Kim's mom and Kim and all that, all on Twitter. Yo, they're this, they're that, blah, blah, blah. Fam, they don't want you and your energy around the kids.
So, I mean, just a general point about him and his interviews and whatnot, that all the things you're mentioning all tie in, but you can tell, for anyone who thinks he's super intellectual or whatever, you can tell that he's a schizophrenic based on how he interviews, because he'll say one thing or they'll ask him something. He'll talk about it for 5 seconds, and then he's already off track on something else. And in a 5-minute span, he'll talk about 12 different topics in a 5. Like, he can't even stay on topic enough to actually make a valid point of, like, you talking about the kids. He can't even stay on topic enough to talk about the children or the issue with the kids. He's already moved on to something else. I told you, and I said it on the show, about the, like, Virgil thing where he blames Louis Vuitton for killing Virgil. In the interview, they asked him about it. It was a 12-minute clip, and he talked about Virgil for 30 seconds, and then the rest was just like throwing darts about himself at the wall of all the stuff he's accomplished.
And that's how this one
That's how you can tell he has no idea what he's talking about. If you can't stay on topic and you're that schizophrenic to where you, number one, he's a narcissist. We know that. Everything's about himself. But you can't even answer a question. Like most interviews, you watch the interview, someone will answer the question, and then it'll take 30 seconds to a minute to answer the question, and then the next question comes. He's not like that. He can't afford to, not afford is not the right word, but I don't even know how to describe it. It's like
somebody must have talked to him about that.
It feels like maybe he feels like he's being interrogated, so he has to brush it off or change the subject or whatever. But he literally changes the subject 15 times in a 10-minute clip.
That's why when you say, aside from the moments, the interview was great, I still, for me, and that's why I didn't watch the full thing, I can't say it's a great interview because of what George is saying. Oh. And for me, it's not just moments, and it's not just he says one bad thing, but then there's 20 minutes of great or whatever. To me, it's 2.5 hours of clips. That's literally what it is.
And you're right. And I will say this about what you said, because somebody must have talked to him about that, because there were times where he brought it back. Sorry, what did you say? Let me answer that question. He brought it back to a lot of that in this interview. Now, that's a good point, too. It was a lot of clips, but a part of that stuff, when I say good interview, I mean if I got the opportunity to interview a person or someone like Kanye, or not just anybody like that stature, I don't know how they may react. It's you get a celebrity in here, they may be quiet, they may be monotone. It's like coming here. He felt like he was at home. He was laughing. He was making jokes. He brought up Jay-Z. He was go buy Deuce. He was making all these funny things.
He kind of has to do that to remain relevant, because if his entire thing was just negativity the whole time, then he would lose the backers. But know what I mean? That's the Trump thing.
But I see that plays really strongly into what you're saying, and we're not diagnosing Kanye. We are verbally discussing what we've understood the definition of some of this stuff is. Mm-hmm. It's what plays into his schizophrenia, if you want to think a little bit, because it was moments where he was like, just laughing. I mean, laughing. And then it was like, but seriously. So what happened? Like, it just got so serious quick.
Yeah, when he was talking about Diddy and them, he's like, you can't call me like F y'all. No, let me say it quiet. F y'all. It's like,
yeah, he
man,
just was
what's up with you?
going crazy. And look, like I said, there were moments where, he would say stuff like, drop little. Let me use this responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped some gems here and there, not about Jewish community, not about that stuff. There was one thing that I took from, like, I really rewinded and listened, went back. Let me hear that again. It took me about, no joke, about 9 hours to listen to that thing.
Okay. Maybe I got it.
There was just one point where he said, talking about his kid being a father.
Mm-hmm.
And as a father, you would understand this. He talked about his son being 6 years old. He said that when he had the son singing in the choir, they had to go to choir practice. He said the son goes, why do I have to sing in this choir when I don't go to this school? And he basically kind of equated that to like, dang, like my son is telling me what he doesn't want to do and questioning what I'm telling him when he turns 26, because he's like, I'm a billionaire. My kid's a billionaire. Mm-hmm. He said when he turns 26, a billionaire kid with the face of Kim Kardashian, he ain't going to listen to nothing I'm saying.
It's true.
It's true. When you got kids, there's nothing like, and I'm speaking from my own perspective as a black father,
yeah.
I'm harder on my kids on certain aspects because I understand what they may deal with and come across in their life. Hopefully not. I understand that. So like them little things like there, I took that. When he talked about being a billionaire, he talked about saying, he said, I think I wrote that one down. He said, what did he say about being a billionaire? He said that
he said I lost it all.
No,
I'm saying.
Oh yeah, but he said I don't remember, but you know what? I wrote right here. He said he looks at all his bills one by one. He says he pays attention to where all his money goes. He said he looks at his bills one by one. He said, I was thinking getting to be a billionaire would take me out of having to do work. Mm-hmm. He said one of my biggest jobs is keeping my money because there's a lot of people. Basically, their full-time job is to take my money. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a gem. It's like, dang, because, like, all of us have the aspirations of being that rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, we'll never understand that. Like, maybe one day all of us in here will maybe understand how to be a millionaire. Understand that. Maybe we will one day.
Well,
but billionaire, the percentage of a billionaire, and he's talking about that, and you kind of get a sense of, like, just the weight of it is of being him. Sometimes it is. And I've always said that. I would never understood what it's like to be him.
Oh, of course not.
Never. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No, well, actually, I was going to say something different first, but since you brought that up, yes, it's absolutely difficult living when you're in the public eye. Now, the obviously the opposite side of that is you wanted that for yourself, or you wouldn't have made music and try to make money. So, like, there's a level of empathy you can have with that type of person who, like you talk about the number of DMs that our account gets, multiply that by 200 million or whatever. Maybe that's not a realistic number, right? But you know what I mean? Like,
who knows?
So that it's not easy to live that life. But the point that I originally was going to make before you said that last thing that made me think of that was, when I hear rich people complain about paying taxes, I don't have no sympathy for them, man. I'm sorry, or empathy. Like, you you are the 1%. 99% of the people ain't got shit, and you sitting here complaining about paying your taxes and what you owe to Uncle Sam and this, that, and the other. I don't want to hear that. Mm-hmm. So if Kanye's complaining about people trying to take his money, I'm sorry, bro. I ain't got no sympathy for you. You live on a different plane than 99% of the people on this planet.
And I didn't take it as him complaining. I took it as,
I'm just making a general point.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something I would ever have empathy for a wealthy person on.
But I did feel that way when he was talking about his kids being taken from him. Mm-hmm. Because we know legit people guys and some girls who can't see their kid because of their baby mama, or how they treat her, they come around, how they're treated and stuff like that. They legit can't build a relationship with their kids like that. We're talking about a billionaire man who could hire the best lawyers on earth, who can do all this stuff. Now, going back to being in the public eye, yes, he wanted that for himself, but in reality, too, he really could not be in the public eye if he wanted, but he can't help himself. Yeah. They asked him a question.
Well, that's why they're celebrities.
He's wearing a hat 2024, which gives you the implication that he's plans on running again. Yeah. Okay. They asked him, they said, he basically said, that's what they want. They want me and Trump to go against each other. And they said, and, Nori being Nori, smart person in his own rights in specific things, but he's not an intellect. Like, he goes, well, who would you vote for? You know, if it's you against Trump, you know, type question. Funny question. And Kanye goes, now, this is being on a podcast, and you just talking and you just going. He said, look, what I've learned is I don't like nobody more than I like myself. Now, this is a person with 4 kids. All right? like, I know you, I know me, and I know if you had, I would die for my kid. I would kill. Like, the fact that, like, you know, can say that, you know, and keep on moving. Like, yeah, no hesitation
like
type thing.
Nothing.
I mean, at one point on the podcast, he started trying to holler at Kamala Harris. He's like, you know, holla, you know, he's, now, this jokey, you know, you just never know what that means, but it's just the level of his mindset of where he's going and what he's thinking. Now, let's talk about the George Floyd thing for a second here, okay? The George Floyd thing was absolutely disrespectful. It was wrong. It was irresponsible. And it just shows the lack of understanding and knowledge he has in dealing with Candace Owens and things like that. Now, a lot of people got mad at Noriega mainly because he let the podcast fly because of that. A lot of people weren't really too mad at Noriega. I'm talking about hip-hop community, culture, black people maybe weren't on him about letting the podcast fly because of the Jewish rhetoric. It was because of the George Floyd thing, letting him get on there and say that. When you watch it, we knew it was coming. Like, I didn't watch the podcast when it dropped. Days later, weeks later, you know, a week later or whatever. I watched it and I'm looking for it. It was in like the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it flew over everyone's head. Like, it was really quick. I'm looking for it, so it wasn't going to fly over my head. I'm trying to shoot Nori a little bail. Somebody else should have afterwards been like, yeah, no, we're cutting that part out. Kanye West talked about it through the entire podcast. I don't know if we're going to, the first half of the show, I don't know if we're going to, you know, they say Kanye, I don't know. They just kept saying like, well, I don't know about we're going to put up this first 10 minutes, this first 30 minutes of the show. He just kept saying that over and over and over. They knew what they were doing was dangerous in the moment, but I don't think intellectually, I think they're literally so high and drunk and high off the fact that they have one of the most influential people in history just dropping ridiculous stuff that is considered content nowadays. They're just so high on the moment.
They knew.
They didn't catch it as quick as he did. He basically said, and this is based off the documentary, and documentaries too can be weapons as well. I'm not going to get into that, but like, that Candace Owens did about George Floyd having fentanyl and like some traces of meth or whatever in his system. Somebody else was like, yes, the people don't even understand that. Yada. Fam, let me explain something to you about law, federally, statewide, stuff like that. He basically said that we saw it. He died because an officer put his knee on his neck and he died. What's that? They're trying to say like he had those in his system and he had underlying health issues and all that. That's cool. That doesn't mean nothing. He died in the result of this. If I break into your home, Don, with a gun, I say, Don, give me all your money. You have a heart attack. That ain't my fault. Like, I'm not gonna be. They can try to charge me in court as negligent homicide because like the result of what I did, I may get 3 years, 5 years for something like that. Now, if I come in the house and I pick you up and throw you against the wall, then you have a heart attack. Oh, that's homicide.
Yeah.
There's a difference in that. Federally, when you report statistics and stuff like that, that's considered like I just came in the house to rob you. I just robbed you. Like you died. That statewide and to the country, that was just a robbery. He died because of his own issues. There is nothing legally about causing such emotional stress based off of give me your money, fool, that you die and have a heart attack that like I caused that.
Yeah.
Now, your underlying conditions and stuff, George Floyd's underlying conditions and whatever he may have in his system, I don't know, with the neck on his thing, caused his underlying health issues and things like that and his chest being pushed on the ground for him to pass away. If I go in your house and I kick you in the face, you have a heart attack and die, I killed you. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Irregardless if a kick to the face can kill, I did that. You died because of that. You can't get on a podcast. You just can't get on there and say something like that.
See, and sometimes, like, even that part, I don't even think he, number one, understands what he was saying. I feel like he just watched the doc, minutes before because first he's like, and you could tell when he's starting to say something that he knows is egregious because he starts looking around for validation. Because he's like, and homie's knee really wasn't on his neck like that. Like, you don't even believe that. Like, you just saw that. And then when he's like, oh yeah, and when he was saying mama, he wasn't calling for his mama, he was calling for his girlfriend. How do you know that?
Damn.
That's the type of shit I'm talking about. You don't even know what you're saying. You watch this, and I don't know, I'll never in my life watch the doc because I don't rock with Candace Owens, but it's like, you just watched this doc literally on the way. You were in the car watching it, and you took two, like, quick tidbits and said, "Ooh, I'm going to say that," in the Nori interview.
And now that's why even saying Kanye's crazy or Kanye has schizophrenia or Kanye has this is really hard to say because, like you said, he would look around for that, like, and he would even say at times, like, all right, everybody, Kanye about to say something crazy. Kanye about to say something wild. I'm about to say something. He would prepare people sometimes for what he's about to say. He knew what he was doing. Yeah. Like I said, throughout the interview, he kept saying, like, y'all may not want to play that first half, that 30, whatever. He was wording it in a way of, like, he knew, like, yeah, you might, yet they still did. You know what I mean? Like, he's consciously, and that's why I got to the point where I'm like, he believes everything ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Like, he's just, but yeah, saying that stuff about George Floyd, like, is just insane. Yeah. All right. And wildly disrespectful. Like, that stuff, you get hands put on you and they should sue the pants off of them.
Wait, I would assume since it was a criminal investigation, there was an autopsy done, right?
Oh yeah. Yes. All that above. It's all proven fact of how he died. Like, that's why you watch a documentary that somebody put together. It's equivalent to watching YouTube and a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, because as soon as he said that,
you stole my point from me.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, and you get on there not in, man. You can't even bring that to a platform and say it in a way that wouldn't be defamation. Like, you know what I mean?
If the autopsy said the cause of death is asphyxiation, then guess what? The cause of death.
We saw the trial, and even after he said this,
the officer went to prison.
Yeah, the dude they came back and were like, no.
Well, that's a little different because we know that's based on juries sometimes, and juries ain't always like the most honest people in the world. Crazy things can happen, but a medical examiner who is required by law to do an autopsy is not going to forge something on a form that doesn't benefit them.
No.
Who you think, like, the state of Minnesota came to the doctor and was like, "Here's $5 million." Like, you think the state can afford $5 million for a doctor to forge the death certificate? No. I highly doubt it. And anyone, by the way, because I know we are going to get into it, anyone who believes in conspiracy theories in general is insane. I'm sorry, I got to say it. That's another reason. No, don't do that.
Depends on what type of conspiracy theory you're thinking of.
Well, name one. Like
the assassination of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or JFK or something like that.
No. That's different. I'm not saying.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Types of conspiracies.
No.
You talking about not flat Earth type of stuff?
Yeah, I'm not talking about things that can't be proven. I'm talking about things that can be proven.
Oh, okay.
Believing in a conspiracy theory that has already been proven 100 million years ago is insane. What? Believing in stuff where we don't know, like people say JFK is a conspiracy. We still don't know who killed JFK. So of course there's something involved there.
Right.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stuff like we just talked about. Kanye talking about the George Floyd thing, putting a documentary video together about all the other things that potentially he had in the system is conspiracy. You literally have a licensed medical doctor did an autopsy, gave you a cause of death, and then a video happens explaining why that's not real. That's a conspiracy theory.
Plus, we saw it happen. That's the part
that kind of stuff will never stop based on the way social media works, YouTube works, whatever. Yeah. We saw it with COVID. We saw it with 9/11. All these things that people like, they swear by these YouTube videos that are complete nonsense. You can call whatever you want a documentary. Documentary doesn't hold the word doesn't hold like the same panache that it did like 20, 30 years ago.
It doesn't.
Because of YouTube, and I'm not blaming YouTube. All these companies
streaming, all of them, Netflix, all of them.
All these companies that they're just providing like like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. The people behind those companies when they were built didn't have they didn't build those companies so people with the thought in mind that people could get their conspiracy video off. You know what I mean? They were just trying to build something new that was cool and so they could make some money.
Yeah.
So I don't blame those people. But the conspiracy thing just needs to stop. And we know it's never going to, but you're not doing yourself any service by peddling the stuff that we know can't be proven or has already been proven. And it's just absurd that people, like, if we all three knew something, let me take it back. Me and you had a conversation the other day about stuff we can't talk about. How badly do we want to talk about it, though? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah.
What? Why you pretending like? So Instagram DM.
Okay.
So we saw a picture.
Okay.
And we can't talk about what was in the picture.
Right.
But how badly do we want to do it? Now multiply that by, like, people think that hundreds of millions of people know about these conspiracies, but it won't ever be talked. Do you know how quick the news would get out if any of these conspiracy theories were real?
100%.
Fam, 2 people know about something and want to talk about it. Can you imagine if 20 people knew, or 200 or 200,000?
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Like, the fact that with a lot of those conspiracy theories, like, I remember when the George Floyd situation unfortunately happened, all the YouTube videos of, like, they were showing press conferences, like, he's right there. And they were, like, had arrows to, like, somebody, like, things like that. And it's like, wait a minute, like, do you think you cracked the case?
Yeah.
Like no one else in the world is, like, you think that George Floyd is alive, you think he's right there, and this is all like, you really think that. Mm-hmm. And like you said, like, a documentary, this was funny, like a documentary. Like, I don't want to talk about documentaries and stuff like that, but like you said, like, making a documentary like that after something that has already been proven and stuff is just, it's stupid. It's so
They're
stupid.
Just preying on the lack of intelligence.
They're preying on the lack of intelligence and keeping people trapped in that mindset. Mm-hmm. Like, even if you're in that mindset of that person that believes in those conspiracy theories and in that mindset of, like, this crazy type thinking, even if you, like, had a little bit of sensibility left in yourself to get out of it, you can't, because there's content that is made constantly for you to keep you trapped. You just get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. I remember documentaries used to be about, like, Elizabeth King George, documentaries used to be just like stuff that no one checked for. Mm-hmm. Documentaries come out every single week on Netflix about the cartels, serial killers, all dipped in violence.
Yeah.
Like, it's rare to find documentaries that aren't right now being pushed and peddled that doesn't have some type of violence, because just this country in general is just, violence is of curiosity. Mm-hmm. We love mob movies. We love gangster movies. We're curious about gangs. I mean, I find myself in
TMZ literally put a video and a picture up Takeoff's dead body on the ground.
Yeah, and see,
the only reason they did that is because they knew it would get clicks.
And exactly. You know what? I was gonna touch on that a bit, because I was gonna talk about that with the Kyrie stuff a little bit, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
No, I'm just bringing it up because it goes along with that.
It does, but it's sort of like the same. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. So let me talk about it real quick, because I got into this crazy argument with this dude about what's dangerous and not, about, like, why this is dangerous. Now, I could tell he didn't watch it. He saw a few clips here and there on Twitter and a few choice things that are picked out. All 3 of them are dangerous talk that he saw. The issue is that, like, you don't see anything in between that makes it even more dangerous than anything after it. Mm-hmm. Like, the saying of it makes it dangerous, but you gotta go. You good?
Yeah, why?
Oh, all right. Oh, okay. You got a funny look on your face.
Oh no. I'm good.
All right. So,
I'm on in.
Oh, okay. I'm like, yo, you having a stroke? Like,
no, my bad, y'all. We straight.
So I was telling him, I was, like, explaining to him, because I talked to a guy on social media and I have a couple friends who are Jewish. Now, I have never thought about it. Like, we don't come across. I'm talking about me. Mm-hmm. I don't know a lot of Jewish people. I don't. I just don't. And even if
you may, and you just don't realize
I just don't realize it.
People don't talk
That's the
about
thing.
it.
Like, it's not like living in New York City where there's, like, these hubs of community. That's what I talk about with Arizona. That may be a Jewish community out here and stuff like that.
Well, you also got to keep in mind, being Jewish is like anything else. There's levels. Like, being Hasidic or Orthodox is not the same as, like, Phil.
Right.
Like, Phil doesn't even go to church. You know what I mean? But he was raised in a Jewish household.
Right.
So, I mean, there's levels to Judaism like everything else. There's levels of Christianity. There's levels of what's the give me another religion,
Buddhism, I don't know.
yeah, whatever. So there's levels to anything in life. So, you know, you may know somebody who's Jewish, but it doesn't mean they're going to have the Orthodox, you know, wear the hat with the long curls and whatever else. You know what I mean? Like,
so like, I'm explaining to him like basically things that I've been told by friends and stuff like that. Because I'll be honest with you, like the stuff that was always said about the Jewish community being in power and stuff like that, I never ever, as being younger, tied it into Nazi Hitler and stuff like that. I never tied it in. I always studied both separately. I never, for some reason, I just never made that connection of it. I knew like, I made the connection of like, they think Jewish Hitler, Nazi era Germany thinks that they're the reason for all of our issues. I didn't know that, but like I didn't know that's where the stereotypes came from of like they're all the lawyers, the doctors, they run the banks, they run all this stuff.
Well, I don't. Maybe at the top levels of the Nazi Party, they thought something like that. But I mean, I guarantee you that wasn't a widespread thought about it because
no, it was part of it. It wasn't the gist of why that all started. It was just also with.
No, what I'm saying is like think about it in terms of anything. Any group of people hates whatever. We don't know the intricacies of why it happens. We just know somebody who believes it. So like I'm assuming everyone's in this room has seen the movie Inglourious Bastards, and by no means is it like an accurate historical movie. Like they actually changed the ending to make it more American friendly. Anyways, in the very beginning scene, they do that. When they start talking in English, they talk about why you hate Jewish people. And he was like, the Nazi was like, we don't know why we hate them. We just know we do. So that's part of it too. It's 100%. It's not that. So Hitler and the top level people in the Nazi party may have had more information about like, oh, we know they're running the world. We hate them. But I guarantee you 99% of the German population wasn't like, that's why we hate them. It was that they're Jewish. We don't know why we hate them, but we do.
And that's what,
like, why do you hate rats?
But see that
we don't know why we hate them, but we hate them.
That's what makes me go back to what I brought up earlier about Kanye saying that he's in his anti-Semitic vibe. Because like you said,
we know why he hates them.
No. I know, but I'm saying like, the word vibe when you're talking about something of hate, because like you're saying, I've seen a lot of that stuff for interviews and people who were part of that in that era of that Nazi Germany stuff like that. And a lot of them were like, oh, we just did what we were told. Like it was like the vibe. That's what I took from him saying that. It's like the vibe, like it's it is what it is type thing. It's like when you have a group, especially in this economic climate that we're in right now, things are high, things are expensive. You can't afford nothing. There's homelessness through the roof. There is no middle class. It's you're poor or you're rich, and rich now is considered what middle class, what it feels like nowadays. Yeah, we talked about earlier. I'm just so sick of spending money. Like it's just money, and then like when you have this type of talk that he has, and you feel that, and you can make people feel like all your problems and all your issues of why you can't prosper and advance is because this group of people, and he said Jewish people, Jewish culture, Jewish community, they're in control of all of the stuff. That's what it makes it sound like. Like, and that's what it was. That's what it is. And that's how things like that get started. It's equivalent to calling COVID the Chinese disease. And you go out there and people start slapping up Asian people. It's like once you put it into the mindset of like, dang, you know what? I can't go outside. I can't wear a mask. I got to wear a mask. I got to do this because of Chinese people. And you see a Chinese person and you want to do something to them. That's how that stuff gets started. Whole thing with Trump and
that's like anything.
It's
like
everything.
Right. You were talking about the Takeoff thing today, and then you said like at the end, like just tired of like street nonsense. And it's not what made me do it, but I was watching a video today about like hip hop beefs or whatever it was, and they were interviewing this guy who was like 21, and they were like, not 21 Savage, the kid was 21 years old, but they were like, can the violence in your neighborhood ever stop? And when you're 21, you don't think about it. When you're 42, it's different. Like you realize that you can like shake hands with the other person and just be like, well, even if something super egregious happened, you realize like when you're older, there are certain things that's just us continuing our lives is bigger than that
way
beef
bigger.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're 21, you're like, I can't ever forgive that neighborhood because they shot my homeboy.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's all you know.
Yeah, so like when you're 21, I understand because Like, you don't know any better yet. You haven't learned. But that's like what you're talking about. It's like anything else. People don't know why they believe certain things. They just believe it. It's so ridiculous.
That's why even when, and look, I know people who love Trump and stuff like listen to this podcast. Like, boy, they love to, I don't agree with your guys' political views and stuff like that. Fam, let me explain something to you about, and this is what was rooted in a lot of stuff.
I don't care. You shouldn't care what I believe, and I don't care what you believe. That's how it should work. But anyways.
But let me explain something to you about the reasons of like the issues that are the main issues that a lot of people have with Trump. It ain't necessarily him and his actions of actually doing work as a president. It's everything that came along with it. Mm-hmm. He made a larger group of people feel like they're less than because all the Mexicans and immigrants are coming over and they're doing it, taking your jobs and your money. And they made them feel like we're supposed to be better than this. Not any self-responsibility or self-reflection on themselves and stuff like that. These people get on here and they start telling me about you don't understand freedom of speech. Kanye West is freedom of speech. Trump is freedom of speech, everything. Let me explain freedom of speech, okay? You are free to say anything you want and not be subjected to anything legally by the law. But
by the government.
That don't mean you can't get fired, slapped in half, shot, beat up, or anything.
Freedom of speech only the Second Amendment, or what is it? First Amendment only protects you from the federal government.
Protects you from the government.
Doesn't protect you from anybody else.
Which is why the KKK, if they wanted to go march down the street, they can go do that. Mm-hmm. They're protected by the federal government to do that.
If they violate some kind of law,
violate any
Phoenix
laws,
PD or whoever can go beat them up.
They can go get beat up. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Kanye West can get on a podcast like Drink Champs and say anything he wants, and it's okay. It's okay under the guise of freedom of speech. But guess what?
But just know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that cliche is one of one of the things that makes the most sense in this climate that we live in. But you got freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom from consequences. I mean, that's really
period.
What it is.
That's what it is. And his narcissism and everything made him feel and makes him think that he's so much more special than everybody else that his freedom of speech actually protects him from everything. He thinks that everybody needs him. Mm-hmm. Not that everybody wants him. Everybody needs him. Like, he legit talked about, and we'll get to Adidas a little bit, but like, let me, and like I was saying, like, that's why that type of stuff is dangerous. When you could place blame on a group of people about something, it's like when Liam Neeson had said his friend had got sexually assaulted or beat up by a black person, and he left. He went outside to go look for a black person to go beat up.
A billy club to go beat up anybody.
He was looking for anybody black. He wasn't looking for that black person. Mm-hmm. Kanye West has clearly been wronged by some Jewish individuals, it seems like. But he's not talking about them. I heard somebody say, you need to give names of them. Like, them. Quit talking about this entire community because it's dangerous, because you put us all under the spotlight that we're running the world in this secret society of we make the decisions on what you can do and what you can do and stuff like that.
And the thing is, he has given names, because if you go back to the
100%
the Sway interview, when he was literally begging this group of people who he hates now, he was begging them to work. He's like, Disney, Google, who's going to be the ones? Like, he's talking about these same companies that he's dissing today. He was begging for them 10 years ago. Balenciaga, Louis, all of them. So he's named names before he needed them. He loved them, everything about them. And now in the blink of an eye, for whatever reason, he starts dissing them because they're taking the power back because he's an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, again, like, everything he's saying, like, it just doesn't make sense. I still firmly believe he doesn't believe what he's saying.
I don't know. I don't think
I can't tell anymore.
I
can't tell anymore.
I don't think he's smart enough to.
He flip flops.
A lot of people think it's a long con. I don't think he's you think Trump's a long con or whatever. I don't think neither one of them smart enough to.
No, that's my point. I don't know if he firmly believes in what he's saying, because he has flip flopped so much. I truly believe he's bipolar, schizophrenic, because we've seen it play out time and time again. The only difference is he lets you see it.
See, and let's say if it was a long con with him, like, people love to try to say, he did all this just to get out the Adidas deal. I heard people saying that.
Not even the slightest. No.
Even, let's say that was true. Let's just run with it for a second. Let's say that, that was his plan. Something is wrong with him schizophrenic mentally.
Fam, we haven't even mentioned the fact that he showed up at Skechers the next day after that. Like, that all plays in together.
Let's say...
You think if he had a long con, he would show up at Skechers unannounced?
Oh, no. Yes. I do.
He got no plan.
I do, because you're right. But let me tell you something. If that was his plan, he's so off, he can't even, like, regulate his plan. Like, he didn't, like, let me just test the water with my anti-Semitic views. He jumped out the window. If it was like, I'm doing this to get off of Adidas, fam, all you got to do is just a little bit to get off Adidas, a little bit of that to get off Adidas. He changed his life with it. Like, he altered his life with it. Now, he's still filthy rich and still has plenty of assets and still has all of the above.
Fam, all you got to do is say one word. We saw Rick Ross when he was with Reebok in a song say rape. And
he didn't say rape.
Well, he didn't say it, but he insinuated. I know the line, but the Molly line. Yeah. But it's like, he said one line and he was off within hours. You can, if you really want,
and that was Reebok.
And that was exactly. And this is if you want to get off, you could say one line or word. He knows what to say these days. There's a book of words you can't say today. You know what I'm saying? In regards to certain demographics of people, whether you're race, gender, sex, whatever, you know what to say and not to say.
We're going to touch on that for a second. Hold on. Let me read the quote that he said. He said, and this was when they were basically like, I feel like they were trying to like rein in the Jewish talk, I think. But he said, I could read all the books. I could meditate. I could study. And I could say, hey, I don't have a problem with Jewish culture. I don't have a problem with what Jewish people have done to my people. I could say that, but I do. He does have a problem with it. Mm-hmm. He said, I own my right. I own my anger. And I'm going to keep that anger as my energy to wake me up until it changes. That sounds like some straight podium Hitler stuff. Like, you are taking your opinionated belief on a group of people, and it is what drives you until things. That sounds scary. Yeah. All right. It's crazy. Now, it sounds scary, but you're like, this is Kanye West. Like, this is what I've learned about people like Kanye, and I'm going to say LeBron, mm-hmm. I'm going to say Kyrie, I'm going to say people of that stature. I don't view them as serious people. Serious people have to take what they say and make it serious for me. Mm-hmm. When LeBron gets on somewhere and says like something, his point of view, I just go, okay, like, thanks, LeBron. Mm-hmm. Not saying that he can't have it. I just don't view it as like, well, LeBron said it. I don't view it that way.
Or now, that he genuinely believes in what he's saying.
I just don't. It just doesn't do it.
They're billionaires, man.
Now, when you get on TV or the internet, it says breaking news. LeBron James has said, then it's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Serious people have made non-serious people serious. Kanye West isn't a serious person to me. Like, and that's why a lot of the stuff that he's done in the past kind of just like flies, and I don't want to, for lack of a better term, forgive him. There's things that we just be like, hi, fam. Yeah. Like, I haven't owned, I sold I don't own a single Yeezy. Ever since the whole Trump stuff, I didn't listen to another piece of music. I didn't do nothing. Been a while since then. Mm-hmm. I listened to Donda. I did.
We all did.
I tried to get Wave Runners. I tried to get Retro Turtle Doves. Mm-hmm. I did. I didn't. Glad I didn't now, because I would have hated to have to give those up now, because I would have. Mm-hmm. But he puts you in this area with him. He even said that it's hard not to not like him. Like, we hang on to that Kanye, like is strong. We used to love Kanye. We did. Even when the documentary, I don't know, do you watch the documentary?
The Genius one?
Then yeah.
Yes, I did.
When you watch it,
and
it makes you
this close.
It makes you because it takes you back to when we was wearing tall tees and stuff. Like, we had our backpacks and we're like, let me get a pink polo. It took you back to that and what you loved about him. It's crazy that just like that, whoop, out the window. Documentary. That's a documentary again. It can be used in so many different ways.
That was a learning that we learned in this documentary. Like, we all knew who Donda was, but to see him interact with her, and then when you actually see the switch in when she passes. You see the switch in him. So that makes me a little more sympathetic at that time when I'm watching it, because I'm like, okay, I don't know how I would react if my best friend and the only person that understood me. He said it. I lost the only girl in the world that know me best. He said it on the line. So when you see that, you're like, damn, maybe that would cause you to go left a little bit.
You start to not forgive him, but you just go.
You soften up a little bit. It softens the blow. It softens the blow.
All right, Kanye. You know clearly some stuff has happened that you just can't handle. All right.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and you're like, God damn, bro, we just got through being like, it just doesn't stop. Like, he puts himself in these situations to where you have no choice but to look at him. Now, let me ask you a question, Don. Now, I'm going to ask you this because so many people sent this to me and asked me this. And shout out to them, they're homies, and I understood their point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you to let go of all Kanye hate and things like that. I'm asking you as a black person.
Okay.
All the things that Kanye has said against black race. Black people need to get over racism. Slavery was a choice. Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves. Wearing White Lives Matter t-shirt. Do you feel, or would you have expected Adidas to drop him for any of that?
Just on that alone?
Just that alone.
Probably not, unfortunately.
Probably not.
Because he said the slavery thing years ago. What was that, 3-4 years?
A long time.
So here's the thing. Dude, in regards to like his like Trump things and stuff like that, that's just political shit. So of course they're not going to drop him for that because despite what we agree or disagree with, he's allowed to have his own opinion politically. Fine. No matter how egregious it is to me, right? As soon as he started talking about Harriet Tubman and he started talking about slavery, that's when I officially was a wrap. For me, that's so even the Trump stuff. I was like, yo, I don't want to hear it. I don't listen to you.
That was all the same month though, wasn't it?
It was, but like, well, Trump was first because when he took the picture. When he took the picture with the hat with Trump, I was like, oh, you're wilding. He's out of here. But that was that. It was further later, I think maybe months later.
Yeah, it wasn't too far away.
It wasn't too far away, but that's when he started to decline for me. But it's when he got on TMZ and said slavery was a choice.
Right.
That was it for me. I was like, okay, now you've officially lost it because now you're talking against your own people. It's one thing to talk about against a political party, but now you're talking about your actual own race. Like, and what you're saying is super dangerous because you were supposed to be super powerful for us, right? We don't have too many powerful figures. And at a point, you were our voice.
And here's the thing, too, with a lot of stuff he said on Drink Champs and with that statement at TMZ, and he said it on Drink Champs, he says he's not the best at articulating what he means to say or what he's thinking. Now, later, he tried to explain what he meant by that.
Because he can't.
He tried to explain what he meant by that. Well, if you believe it,
Kanye is not an intelligent enough person to me to articulate anything that he's attempting to say, especially when everything you're attempting to say is insane.
Because if you go, man, it makes me wonder why the slaves didn't just like rise up and just take over and kill everybody and run and do all. Why didn't they do that? It makes me feel like they just kind of made the decision to just, this is their lives. If you word things in a different way like that, it makes you think. It's not maybe like the best thing to say, but there's a different way to put it. Saying slavery is a choice is wildly different than trying to understand what took place or why it happened. You know?
But it would be impossible to do that.
Not for everybody. For him, yes.
No. It would be impossible for us to know exactly the steps that would happen to eradicate slavery at that level.
Yes.
And why would
that's why you have to ask. That's how you have to present it in a question of like curiosity and why you want to know. Let me tell you the story.
But that's why it's not even worth discussing, and that's why it's so egregious to say that because. What do you know about anything that happened 160 years ago?
Yeah, so, that's what I'm saying. What do you know? You don't
presuming you knew. Yeah, like it's an arrogant assumption by somebody who has zero business being arrogant.
And we don't even know how it really came about. Like he doesn't know like the thought process of who became enslaved or who was doing the enslaving.
Right.
Like we know none of that.
It's a lot of questions.
I think it was HBO. HBO did a documentary on John Brown. They tried a slave uprising, and I know he did something in Kansas, but I think the other thing was like in North Carolina or South Carolina. They ended up having like 19 people in on the plan, and they got washed because the cavalry was sent or the Union Army or whatever was sent. Like, fam, if you can't convince more than 19 people to do it, that's just a sign of the times.
There's a lot of questions that go with it, but there's nothing wrong with the curiosity that comes behind it if you're genuinely trying to understand.
If you're having a nuanced conversation about, hey, why do you guys think that there was never a bigger slave uprising than we had? Absolutely.
Oh yes, that's what 100%.
I'm saying. Yeah, no, fine.
But and I'm telling you this like from a personal experience of my own. Now, it's not the same thing because it's faith based and we don't know if God's real or not. It's based off faith. I remember we moved here, right? We went to the church. I mean, they thought they thought I was just thug. Like they just thought I the worst of me, right? Mm-hmm. And I was actually the best out of everybody in there. Like it just all the kids, like my age group, my teenager, they just thought I had earrings. They just couldn't believe it, right? I remember using like this children's like Bible study thing, right? And we're in there, and like, there's one thing that I don't know how much religion you guys grew up with, or I don't know about you, but like, you just don't question or speak against certain things.
Yes.
We're in there, and they start talking about heaven. They start talking about something. You don't want to get to heaven and have to answer to God, something, right? And we're in there, and we're in the room, and I said, and from that moment, I was different than everybody. I was almost like an outcast, like no joke.
Yeah. I
said, what if you go to heaven and it isn't God? What if I get up there and it was Buddha and this entire time I've been worshiping the wrong person? Mm-hmm. Fam, you would have thought I cast the Satan from hell. Like, it was like,
the gall.
You don't think that way. It's just God up there. I'm like, yeah, but like there's so many other religions out here. Like, how could you tell somebody else that they don't feel something and really say like what I feel is right, what you feel is right? Like, what if I die and get up to heaven and be like, yeah, God, and Buddha is sitting up there like, like, yeah. Oops, what, do I go to hell? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
fam, they looked at me and treated me like I was insane. Like, how dare you even? I had a question, buddy. Like, what? Is there anything in the Bible for that, or like any thoughts you have to like help me feel that way? You want to explain faith a little bit more? Like anything else? Ever since then, me and religion are just like I believe my faith in God, believe in God, mm-hmm. Jesus Christ, and all that. But like the concept of church and all that is just always
it's different.
It got shaky, it got different from me. Mm-hmm. Kanye West, one thing that I would say is about all races. I feel this genuinely about all races. I feel that all races have the okay to talk bad about their own race. Mm-hmm. I don't think a brand would drop a white person for talking bad about white people. I don't think a brand would talk bad about, now in context, like he picked the most ultimate of like offensive things for black people. But brands that like, especially when you feel like they feel that way about you in the first place, mm-hmm. they'll let you do some black on black dissing.
Yeah.
You know what
mm-hmm.
I mean? They'll be like, hey, Kanye feels that way. Because there's a lot of things that black people take ownership for. We take ownership for things that like really have no value. Mm-hmm. Okay. If a white person had got on there and said that stuff, woo, we would have, fam, might have would have marched to TMZ or whatever. Kanye says it. I feel like black people didn't really put enough behind it to care. We were still in love with Kanye West.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this buddy's, Kanye done lost his mind. But yeah. Boy, that cookout and that mm-hmm. all falls down, come on. It just, for us, it doesn't matter because he's ours.
Yeah.
There are certain things with black people and black community and black culture because we don't have a lot of it. Mm-hmm. We will forgive you because he's ours. Mm-hmm. Let's look at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, we don't know if he did anything or not. No one knows to this day. Michael Jackson was a weird person, okay? Weird. But guess what? He was ours.
He's our weird person.
He was our weird person, all right? And don't you dare say a bad thing about Michael Jackson in front of me. Don't you dare, all right? Now, hey, we all thinking it.
The only difference is a different era. Like, if Michael Jackson was doing all this in the social media era, you might feel the same way about Kanye. Let me tell you something.
Well, Tiger Woods,
for example of that.
Sorry, real quick. Tiger Woods didn't want to be as black as we wanted Tiger Woods to be. Mm-hmm. Tiger, shut up. You black.
Yep. You
go
have
out there and win. We don't give a shit. Now, black people was a little bit bothered by it, but we was like, shut up. You black. Mm-hmm. You got one drop in you. You black.
Yep.
I don't care, Tiger. You could say you Blasian. You could call yourself whatever you want. Nah, you ours. You black. We don't care. Kanye West is the same thing. That's why I try to tell my friends. That's why Adidas didn't drop him. We view it as ours. We probably would have got mad if Adidas dropped him for doing that. We just might have. Like, yo, people have done worse things. Adidas wasn't going to drop Kanye West for going against black people. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't do it. We own that. Kanye West could say the N-word. Black people could say the N-word, do all this stuff. Another Adidas athlete said the N-word. Nope, you out. Yeah. All right. Now, if he would have got on there and just started, and look, I'm not shooting bail for white people or anything like that. But black people and other races kind of got a green light to talk junk about white people too, like in a certain sense, like to a certain extent. You know, Kanye West got on there and said, white people treat us bad, treat us wrong, white people. Adidas would have been like, hey, buddy, we're white here. Yeah. They would have been like,
I think that's because they've always been looked at as the oppressor. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's business, why. Anybody.
And because he was saying that before.
I don't think any brand would have dropped Kanye for saying
No. I'm saying, I think you can say that stuff about, like, I think the green light was on white people because they've always been looked at as the oppressor. Yeah. So it's like, they got the advantage already. Who cares 100%. If we talk junk about it?
It's like, hey, you know what? White people, you just got to deal with it. When minorities feel like talking junk about white people, hey, man, you just got to suck it up, man. You just got to take it. It is what it is.
Plus, that was Kanye before Adidas anyways. Like, Adidas knew who they were getting in bed with. Like, Kanye was on that. I mean, George Bush don't care about black people early. You know what I mean? So he was on that talking about, you know, white folks and other races early on, so they kind of knew what they were getting into.
Oh, 100%.
So that's kind of why, you know what I'm saying? Until he got to the anti-Semitic stuff, that's why, like, they were like, probably, come on, Kanye, you have to say that. You know what I mean? But
it's good you brought that up because there's a pretty far divide from saying that and telling Taylor Swift she didn't win. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And now wearing a White Lives Matter T-shirt, like,
oh no,
the chasm between those two things.
That's why I've been so
it's crazy
against him for years because I'm like, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, haha, I told you so, because I would never do that. But it's like I just saw it earlier on. When he goes extreme, no matter what time of like his life, whatever he's doing. He never just like approaches something with care. He goes the ultimate extreme. He started it early on in his career. Like, we saw it in the doc. He wants you to hear him. He's like, I'm the greatest so much, I'm going to go in every office and rap the same lyrics to you for days. He's an extremist, right? He did the same thing, like you said, with Taylor Swift. He believed so much that Beyonce should have won that video that he's going to take this poor girl's moment away from. He does that with, you don't have the answer, Sway. Every single thing he does, he's so extreme.
So,
hold on a second.
Well, both of you, those 2 points are like extremely right in the sense of like what George said earlier about when you're a 21-year-old and what you're living and thinking of in that moment versus when you're older. In that moment when he did that to Taylor Swift, not 1 second for myself that I feel like, oh, how did he? Why not to Taylor? Like, that was mean. It was hilarious, and it was like, and we couldn't wait to talk about it. Did you see it? Did you see it? It added something to it. Now, when what's her name for Abbott show?
Oh, Quince.
She got her award, and what's his name was laying on the floor, and I was like, fam, like, what you doing, man? You took that moment from her. Because I'm older now, I can see that stuff.
Oh, I thought you were going in a different direction.
No. Like, I
thought he was going in that direction too. I was like, okay.
I thought you was going with Kanye's older now. You going? No. You're older.
I'm going with I'm older because like when that Taylor Swift happened thing, I would have never imagined in 100 years we'd be here now with Kanye West. When Kanye West did the George Bush Don't Like Black, I would have never thought we would be here with Kanye West.
All right, so let me bring up because I told you I was only going to ask one question, and clearly you guys are the people who should be speaking up on it. But first, I'm going to just make the point.
Racist.
I mean, you're not wrong, but a white person can't answer this question. So in a way, you're right. Okay, but let me preface it by saying this. We are the other day we left lunch, and you said something that I think a lot of people should be saying. Why is Donald Trump the one for people?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, clearly you're going to believe whatever you want to believe regardless of who the person is. Like, but why is Trump that guy that just got y'all so So anyways, so think about that. I'm going to take it to Kanye. this isn't the question yet for you guys, but along the lines of why is Kanye that guy that people are willing to go to bat for? I don't what has he done? And I understand the like he's ours mentality, but like what has he done? And so the question is, do you think that the same people who love Pac now are standing behind Kanye? Or how would you, because to me, you can't even, I told you a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago, I said, if Kanye wanted to be Tupac, he could be Tupac. But instead, look at, like, he has the influence. He's always had the influence. And it turns out I was right. I've been saying this for 10, 15 years. People didn't realize at the time the influence he has, and now you're starting to see it, even though we disagree with what he's been using the influence for. So, like, in my opinion, you can't be, other than just like you said, he's ours. You can't be like a Tupac stan and a Kanye stan because they stand for completely different
Is
things.
that a such thing though?
No, I'm asking. That's what I'm saying.
Is
like,
what a thing.
Because
like a
of
Tupac stan
all
and a
the stuff
Kanye
that I've
stan.
seen,
Yes, absolutely.
all the stuff that I've seen on social media is like, what did I say to you the other day? Oh, so the thing earlier about the Brett Favre, like a lot of stuff I've been seeing from people on Twitter in the black community is like, Kanye's ours, we got to protect him. Is it like a default response, or because people are, it's like the whataboutism, obviously. What Kanye did this, what about Brett Favre, or what about whatever? But at the same time, you're not arguing for the same thing because Kanye is not necessarily standing for your causes. He's standing against your cause, but y'all still standing for him. I don't get it.
I think they're standing for the fact that we don't have, and I kind of said it earlier, we don't have too many black powerful voices. So when they feel like the world is going against our own quote unquote and their opportunity to speak on what they want to say, immediately it is a default response. They go, well, wait, no, he can say whatever he wants. We stand with you, Kanye. Tupac, for example, like Tupac actually stood for something. And I was younger, like, so I didn't like understand what Pac was saying until I got older. But my dad was like all about Pac, all of that, right? So, but we knew what Pac was saying, and it was like true. And what we saw, even in the media, was, yo, they're trying so hard to go against the grain that he's ours, and he's not allowed to say what he wants to. So we're going to back you up, Pac. We got you. You know what I'm saying? Fast forward to now. They feel Kanye at a time was saying stuff for us, and they're like, oh, they're trying to shut him up. Our default response is, no, bump that. Like, the world, again, is trying to mute another black voice. We got you, Kanye. You know what I mean? Despite him, like, you're right, absolutely right. He's not for us. Clearly, he's not. Him saying, like, oh, I'm just trying to, like.
Unless it benefits him.
But yeah, but it even doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why is Kanye the one that people are willing to, like, maybe go back on their principles for? And I understand what you're saying. Like, maybe it just boils down to, like, the fact that we don't have that many. Not we, me. I'm saying, like,
no, but
speaking for other
you're
people.
Right.
Like,
no, but you're right.
You saying we don't have that many people, so the ones we do, we got to protect. I absolutely understand that mentality, especially when when you feel like the deck is already stacked against you. I'm just thinking, like, bro, when I was, and granted, I was young too. Tupac died when I was 17, but already at 17 years old, I was telling people, now this might have been foolish to say then, and I think I've said it to Greg before.
To me plenty of times.
Tupac to me was a prophet. Like,
no,
a literal
1,000%.
prophet, bro.
1,000%.
I'm not even joking, because you could see him at 24, 25 years old already understand. Like, when he did, I think it was the interview with Tabitha Soren, right? When she was like asking him about what it is, and he was like, you knock on a door and you ask for something. And then when they slam the door in your face, then you like, next time I'm going to bang on the door. And then when they slam the door in your face again, and late that night, I'm picking a lock, I'm sneaking in. So, like, you could, like, my thing with Pac, obviously, from LA, I grew up a big fan of his music, but, like, you could tell he was an intellectual based on everything he did, the interviews he did. He wasn't, like, all over the place, like, spazzing.
No, never.
He was always on point talking. Now, granted, I'm not saying Tupac was an angel. He did some fucked up shit. Well, yeah. He went to jail for it. He
was also a kid, by the way. He was also 19, 20, 21 when this stuff was happening.
Right, exactly. So he was not, by no means was he an angel, But I think he saw things. I think he was 20 years ahead of his time. By saying prophet, I don't mean like he was actually like, divine presence. I'm saying like I think he was 20 years ahead of his time, and he was for. Like, if he was still alive today, I think a lot of stuff would be different in not only black community, but all minority communities.
I say that all the time.
I mean?
We would be in a different space if Pac was alive. We would absolutely be in a different space. I believe so.
I'm going to try to answer this, but here's the thing with, like, social media right now is, like, you can tell the age group of individuals when it comes to discussions about this Kanye West situation. Mm-hmm. They own, and this is, a lot of them will probably listen to this podcast. A lot of them listen to this podcast probably like, well, get to the, are they going to rebrand talk? Those are the ones that are in all the comments on every single thing about Kanye, talking about, well, he still owns the 350. They're talking about that foolishness and not the reason why he's here in the situation in the first place.
It goes along with that, with the like.
Now, with your point about people in Pac, we forget that like our generation is the greatest and gonna be the greatest of all time until this earth clears out, to me. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, we're talking about, we legit have seen the creation of things that didn't exist. And everybody has to a certain extent. But I'm saying that, like, our parents were there when the microwave first came out, you know what I mean? Or our grandparents or whatever. And, like, the washer and dryer, all that type of things, you know what I mean?
No,
but, like,
we're different.
We saw the internet and the world get connected to each other in a sense of, like, my whole motto is like, I will not be a mascot for anybody that doesn't know I exist. Mm-hmm. When the Cowboys lose, I'm not sad or mad. I don't care. If I died, the Cowboys would have no idea. The fact that people, for whatever reason, have built this connection through all these platforms. Like, we've been able to follow Kanye West all the way from CD, all the way to iPod, all the way to in our phones, in our hands, all the way to video, to clothing, to everything that you can possibly think of as a billionaire, a rich person. You have accomplished almost legit. He has a school, for goodness sake. Yeah. He has accomplished He's accomplished everything that we wish for and dream of and think of, and we were there for it all. That's why you kind of feel that way. The problem is that people have become so ingrained in this that they think that they're just as valuable to him than they really don't. They don't know it. It's not even the case. It's not even true. They think, if you go to any of these things, you go to the Drink Champs interview and they took it off Drink Champs page. You know what? Let's go back to that for a second. This is how you know the times that we're in, is that, like, when somebody posts something immediately and you have the option to record it, like, Drink Champs took it down on all platforms, but you just type it on YouTube. It's on there. Yeah. Not on Drink Champs, but it's on the internet. Yeah. It's out there. The whole thing, everything. The fact that, like, the comments on posts on Instagram, Twitter, social media, YouTube, yo, protect this man. Kanye, I love you. Kanye, keep doing your thing. Kanye, I understand. Kanye, they don't get it. Kanye, when they finally see the light, it'll be too late. Kanye, they think they're talking to Kanye. Yeah. They think they're talking to Kanye on Billy Bob Smith's YouTube page. Subscribe, likes, thumbs up, please. They think they're talking to him. Kanye, keep doing your thing. Kanye, you got my support. Kanye, I'm all the way in North Carolina. Fam, who are you talking to? Yeah. You're talking to yourself. It's insane. They legit feel responsible for they started a GoFundMe to keep him a billionaire. It's insane. We're talking about most likely poor people or middle-class individuals starting a page to keep a 400 millionaire worth a billionaire. Mm-hmm. It's insane. That's mental health. I talk about that. It's mental health things. Like, my brother-in-law, the Cowboys would lose. I'm talking on the couch like this. My sister-in-law would have to go over, their divorce now, would have to go over there and rub his back. Hey, you know what? He would be like this. I'm just so competitive. Yeah. Fam, you weren't in the locker room. You didn't. Nothing to do with this. But he feels so involved with the Cowboys that it affects him.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it, and people were like, yo, that's messed up, fam, yo. If Kanye died, it wouldn't have an effect on me anymore because, like, you know what? I do feel that sense of he's mine and ours because we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Fam, our styles are changed. I mean, I gave Air Force Ones a shot because of Kanye. Not because of New York, not because of nothing. I saw him wearing them with baggy jeans. I gave them a shot because of that. I gave pink polos a shot because of that. I went to the club in pink polos. Fam, we was in the hood wearing pink polos with light blue horses on them, fam.
Collars flipped up.
We was wearing two collars. I did do that, but some cats was wearing two collars.
I had the one collar, though.
Fam, we was flipping our collars up, wearing backpacks in the 80s and 90s that were typically for women. Louis Vuitton backpacks? Men weren't wearing Louis Vuitton backpacks and Gucci back. That stuff was considered women's stuff back in the day. Man, come on, man.
But that's why
I don't even know if I answered the question. I don't even know.
That's kind of in a sense you in a way answering the question because if you want to say at one point he was ours, if you think about it today, what type of what type of black powerful voices do we have? I
don't even know what that means, to be honest with you.
Well, and I ask that because in every generation leading up to this, we've had some type of voice where we feel they're trying to they're there for us, right? Like we had, you had Martin Luther King and them in the 60s and 70s or whatever. You had, well, I don't even say Al Sharpton, but we had like voices, right? Even in music, politics, whatever. We had Pac, we had hip hop, right? That was our voice. And Kanye, when he took over that, he was the voice of us. He was the voice of hip hop. Graduation literally was like our voice for the first few years. And the second he said George Bush doesn't care about black people, we all went, there he is. He's for us. So some people are holding on to that and will not let go.
Now, that is 100% true. But in the same time, we've forgiven Kanye West even for what we viewed at the time as missteps in music. When he made College Dropout, he made whatever else before he made 808s and Heartbreaks, when he started walking around wearing a suit and we was like, what is this? But then it was a banger.
But I'm going to be honest,
fire.
though. So, and maybe I can't speak for everybody. Even in that, right, what we saw, or maybe what I saw, is I saw somebody going through it. He had just lost his mom at that point. He had just broke up with Amber. So he was going through it. 808s and Heartbreak, to me, like, yeah, when we first heard it, we're like, what the hell is this? You just did Can't Tell Me Nothing. Like, that was the greatest song of all time. And then you start seeing doom, doom, doom.
But it was fire, though.
But it was fire. But you know what? We forgave it, quote unquote, because we're like, hey, you know what? We're here with you. We stand with you. You're going through it. We get it.
Now, see, I never viewed it as that. I viewed it as, boy, he's such a genius and ahead of his time. Even when he came out with Power. Power is an EDM type song. Stronger, better, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
Man, you just look at Kanye like, dang, boy, he pushing the envelope. He's making you consider a sound that you never would have thought of.
Yeah, but he's making it hip hop though.
Even when he did
that was us.
Yeezus. Now, I don't like Yeezus.
I love Yeezus low key.
And see, that's the thing. I liked a few songs. I mean, he had a song called Black Skinhead. Like, he's almost foreshadowing like his life. Like, it's
somebody had brought up that Confederate flag on the jacket.
He had the Confederate flag on the concert jacket and stuff. But at that time, he phrased it as a like, we taking this back. This is our type thing, when it never really was ours.
Now,
but
hold on.
I got it. It made you feel like, ooh, like this guy is like something. I never viewed Kanye West on the level of a Tupac, because what made Tupac special, and I'm talking about me because I was in LA too, and I understood, like fam, I started liking certain Jordans because they were shooting people for them.
Mm-hmm.
I was outside with Crips and on MacArthur Park and Inglewood. I knew that. So what Pac was talking about, I knew it. My dad talked about it. I tell you this story all the time. My dad would get pulled over by the police, LAPD, all the time. I was so young that I just thought it was funny. Like, I didn't think nothing of it because I was young.
Mm-hmm.
They would just frisk him. I watched my dad be frisked I don't know how many times by LAPD. Same thing, come to the car, wouldn't even phase. Same thing. you fit the description. I'm like, good Lord, how many short, fat, balding black men is robbing? Like, why did you always fit the description? Like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get that till I get older. But when I listen to Pac talk, I started getting that. Like, yo, like, he ain't lying. Like, yo, why? You know, you start thinking about the people that you hang out with, and I went to church with, from my friends' moms, like my mom's friends and people like that, you know, having babies and in the hood and stuff like that. You start seeing the stuff that he's telling you about, and you like, to us, it was life. I'm in LA. This is life. You know, we in Compton. This is what we know. But then you start realizing, like, wait a minute, like, people don't care about us. Like, and you don't realize it until you go to someone else's houses. I tell Georgia, and I talk about this all the time. Our apartment, we lived in the hood, Inglewood. Our apartment was beautiful. We had cable. We was doing well. I didn't realize how responsible my dad was versus to the dad upstairs to the homies. I'm going to Antoine's house, go upstairs. Fam, it looked like he lived in Iraq.
Yeah.
We lived in the same building. But you don't see that stuff until you hear Pac and stuff like that. Kanye West, it's all dripped in wrongs towards him. Like, it was like George Bush, don't hear about black people. In the background, playing in a video, is black people on a roof with SOS signs. Help me on the roof because nobody's giving them help. Like, so it fit the mold, and you could say, like, oh, he may be that guy. But you didn't care because when it started going down, you're kind of like, he still are. It's like, that was weird, but like,
Because at the same token, his music at the beginning preached that, like, now with the Pac ordeal, like, even, yes, Pac and Kanye clearly, like, had different upbringings, right? But they still, in a sense, in the music, kind of had a similar ideology of, like, of black people, right? So, like, you think of College Dropout. If you listen to some of the things he's saying, you know, we wasn't supposed to make it past 25. Jokes on you, we still, like,
right.
He's telling you right there, like, they're according to us, like, we're supposed to be dead and gone at age 21, whatever. So, like, he is our voice because nobody really was talking like that. I think that's the only correlation I have with, like, why I think Pac was a prophet, and why Kanye at the initial offering, we could have said, okay, he might be a prophet. You feel me?
All right, hold on. So let me just bring this up real quick, because this was another thing I saw on social media during the week. And I think it also speaks to that, to like the, I don't know if I want to use hypocrisy or just like a lack of understanding.
Probably,
but like,
probably a little bit of both.
Okay, so maybe it's a little bit of both. But I saw from someone on Twitter, and I assume they were part of the black community because of what they were writing, but it basically was like, he kind of understood what Kanye was saying, at least in terms of Jewish people sticking together. So the person was basically tweeting like, so this is why we got Kanye's back, because we're sticking together. Like, Jewish people stick together and only do stuff for themselves, and they don't worry about anybody else. So it's okay if black people stick together and only do stuff for black people, and you know, protect their community. But my thing is, like, how do you associate that? Because clearly you have Kanye's back, the guy who wrote that. But how do you associate that with him wearing a White Lives Matter T-shirt, or saying
he's dissing,
or saying
what George Floyd,
or the George Floyd thing? So that's another thing I don't understand is, like, I'm totally fine with everyone saying they're protecting their own group and they're only worried about their group. Because if you ask me today, the only people that matters, like, number one to me is my wife, obviously, and then friends and family after that. Like, I don't care about nobody else. So I just don't understand how you get from point A to point B in that conversation.
So that's a really good point, because somebody was like trying to explain to me about the transatlantic slave trade and all this stuff, and about Adidas and neo-Nazi Germany and this and that. And I said, I don't care. And I say that respectfully. I care about
Wait, they're saying like Adidas Nazis were involved in slave trading?
No.
80 years later.
No. He was 2 points, 2 separate points he was just trying to say. Because he was trying to say, like, you know, everybody else is a fool, you know, for wearing Adidas in the first place. Hold on, make the point real quick. First of all, everybody who only wears Nike, you've already made that establishment. You can't base that off of because Adidas had Nazi ties. Don't do that.
In early 20s.
You just like Nike. So don't do that. Don't like say that's why I only wear. No.
Yeah.
You only wear Nike because you wear Nike. That's the point. Anyways, I'm not trying, and I say this respectfully. I understand the past. I understand Adidas ties to, which is questionable reason why, because like, you know what, back then, if you're a business and you didn't fall in line with that, you got burned down and you got wiped. So I don't know the history and all that, but I respect and understand the history of it. But I'll be honest with you, to this day, to this point that George has made, I care about myself, I care about my well-being, I care about my accomplishments, my wife, my kids, my family, my friends. I don't care that Adidas had Nazi ties before I was alive.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And that's your life.
I don't expect a white person to feel responsible for white people in slavery. Mm-hmm. I only expect white people to just care and understand when it does affect us, because it still affects you. It's differently. Like it's because, I mean, growing up black in school, I hated when we were getting to that part of history where we had to talk about slavery.
Oh, me too.
I hated it. It was so uncomfortable, especially if you were the only black kid in class. I hated it. So like it's a build up and understanding of like things like that. But like I would never, a white person, I'm so sorry. I'd be like, fam, relax, buddy.
Yeah, you're not going to go
relax,
to the CEO
buddy.
of Adidas now and be like,
relax.
Hey, yo, fam.
I'm not sitting here thinking that Adidas like owes us anything or the Jewish community or history anything because of things that have happened. I don't believe in stuff like that. When we talk about the past, I told you, to me, the country in this world needs to be ran like an NBA contract. I don't care. Putin wants to invade Ukraine. I care because those are human beings and people. But the reason why people say he shouldn't, I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't care. Mm-hmm. He doesn't matter that he's making that choice. Like, you're asking him to abide by something that was made before I was even alive, probably. Yeah. And I say that respectfully. Mm-hmm. Because right now I care about my friends, I care about my wife, my kids, my accomplishment. I care about getting home safe to my family. I care about my kids making something of themselves. That's all I care about. I can't sit here and be like, I ain't wearing them Ultra Boosts because I German Nazi Adidas and
well, yeah, because then they always say like, how does that make you feel? And like, you don't want to know how it really makes me feel, because up until this point before you mentioned it, I didn't feel a certain type of way.
You don't understand what Kanye said because of the slave trade. Huh? Yeah. No, Kanye don't care, because in the same interview, guess what Kanye talked about? You know, I love buying women, all this stuff, and all my girlfriends, and you know, I get hoes and stuff like that, and I buy Birkins and stuff. Yeah. I buy these hoes houses and stuff like that. But you know what? As the black community, you got all you talk about is busting guns and getting hoes. Fam, you just said you get the hoes and
you talk that same rhetoric that you're against.
Like, what are you talking about? Look. If you want to stand behind individuals who are really about that life, you knock yourself out. That's fine. Kanye's not that guy. He's just not. He's not the one. He's too enthralled and in-depth in everything that we are involved. Social media. Kanye West grew up with us just like we grew up with him.
1,000%.
Kanye West is our generation. Like, we're sitting here like talking about Kanye West like he's like 80 years. Kanye West is 45 years old. I'm 40. George is almost 43. I don't know what you are now. You getting up there. We all, like, so it's like Kanye West can get on there and say what he wants, but he got no problem getting on Twitter to talk crazy about anything and anybody he wants to. Mm-hmm. That just is what it is. Now, look, I do want to talk about Adidas stuff for a second. Anybody got any final thoughts or anything? I have nothing else to say. Anybody else?
In regards to in regards to the Drink Champs interview and all that good stuff, no. I've got a plethora more to say about Ye, but I
can say this with 100% conviction that I'm personally just wash my hands of it. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna sit there and say I hate his guts or I'm mad. No. Hey, buddy, you know what? I appreciate what you've provided to the culture, and you are a key icon to it. I hope at some point you kind of swing back around and build yourself back up to something that we could be proud of, because I don't want my lasting memory, if he passed, I don't want my lasting thing of Kanye West to be like, today, just like every day.
See, now
just
you're
like every
you're very.
I'll tell you what.
Let me say, hold on. Let me say, I don't want to wake up just like every week. It seems like with a rapper or somebody famous dying, I don't want to wake up and Kanye West has passed away, and I don't want to go, man, Kanye West, boy, he was a legend, but ooh, he lost his mind. I don't want to have to say that. Yeah. I don't want to have to feel like, I want to be like, dang, I want to get in the car and play Kanye all day. I want to feel something. When Kobe died, you felt something because he didn't, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by that. I don't wish death on Kanye West. My point is that I want him to maintain his legacy and importance within us.
See, and even in that, like that's where I think you and I differ, because I don't even think at this point he has a legitimate legacy. I've said this, and I didn't tweet it or anything, but I feel like we have witnessed probably one of the greatest downfalls of a supposed icon.
I think that's legacy, though.
He was supposed to be an icon, supposed to be, but you have diminished, or you have done so much to your name that I think at this point you only have a group of people that are standing with you. You have, to me, and not just to me, but obviously to everywhere else, you have fully like shit on your name. And I think you could do that in life. We have those supposed icons that we're supposed to have. I don't want to use, I mean, Bill Cosby, for example, comedic icon, right? Now you think about him, when he passes, what are they going to say?
I mean,
same with R. Kelly. Now that's a little different because some people still listen to his music, but that was literally one of our musical icons, but that's null and void at this point. To me, Kanye West has now done that. We have witnessed potentially the greatest downfall of a supposed icon, to where now he can't do anything to get on good graces. He can't. There's nothing you can say, fam. It's like you said, it's the internet. It's cemented. It's there. You Google Kanye West, what's going to come up? Not music. It's going to be, here's what he said here. Here's what he said there. It's implanted on my mind, me watching you say slavery was a choice. Or even he doubled down on that. Yeah, they just threw a net on all of us and we just got caught. Like, fam, you sound stupid. It's cemented in my head you saying his knee wasn't really on his neck like that. It's cemented in my head you saying all this foolish and shit. So I don't care what album he drops. I don't care if he goes in front of everyone and goes, yo, my bad. Fuck that, because you're going to say it again.
Cosby Show is one of the greatest shows of all time. I'm not.
But where do they play it? They can't play it no more.
I'm not gonna lie to you. And let me tell you something. If Michael Jackson had to do a versus, there's only maybe one or two people he could do it against, and probably R. Kelly would have been that person. Is the only one.
But
R. Kelly is the only person that I could think of music wise that, like, if you went song for song with Michael Jackson, you can go, I don't know. I believe I can fly. Could get a Michael Jackson, get a few Michael Jackson songs out of here.
There's like 2 or 3 people, but yeah, I mean,
Prince maybe.
I'm throwing Prince. I'm throwing Stevie in there.
Stevie.
But aside from that, yeah, no, there's no one else. But that's my point. My point is, like, I know you say, like, oh, maybe, like, maybe he could get in our good graces, or maybe, like, I could learn to soften up. I feel like for me, what's done is done.
Oh, yeah, for me, I'm done.
For what's done is done. I'm sorry. Like, at this point, 10, 20 years down the road, what's done is done.
Let me say good graces. What I mean by that, I hope that he finds some type of inner peace. Man, I see him at the beach hanging out with his kids, drinking pina coladas, playing games, being rich, riding on boats, having fun, eating spaghetti in Italy, and taking his. That's what I mean. I hope to see him in a place where I say,
that's
man,
fair.
Finally, maybe another wife, a beautiful wife, and they being rich, and I look at them as like, dang, that's when I look at black, like. He's black, like, dang, like, that's fire.
Like, he did it.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I don't need Jay-Z and nobody speaking up for me and all them. Like, I just don't care. Like, I don't. And hey, man, I appreciate you saying that. That's cool and all. But, like, you know what? You being an example is what I look at. And by all means, I don't be looking at them like goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have some to look at.
Yeah.
I got nothing else. George, you got anything else to say about that?
Not about Kanye.
Adidas.
I mean, well, the only thing I was going to say was, when you were talking about him dying, if he dies tomorrow, the amount of conspiracy theory videos that pop is going to be astronomical.
It will be ridiculous. I may have to do one. Come here and turn the lights off and put a flashlight in my face.
Yes.
Look, Adidas, man. Obviously, Adidas dropped them and whatnot. I mean, the one question I do have is, like, because Adidas was like the last one, and Adidas was the major one. Like, that's the one, like, of his. That's the one that made him.
That's what everyone was waiting on.
With a lot of stuff that Kanye has said during this run with Adidas, do you think Adidas could have rode out the storm and kept him on there? Because they rode the storm on a lot of stuff. They rode it out. And
I'll be honest, I don't care about stuff like that. Like, I don't care about them. The only thing that matters is I know that he's a wacko. I know ABC. I know XYZ. I don't care about. That's like this whole. That's another thing about social media that bothers me is when people talk about like wokeness and whatever. Number one, that word doesn't even make any sense. The original use of that word was literally 180 degrees opposite in the black community to describe be woke against white people. Now white people are using it to like be woke against liberals. It makes absolutely no sense. Wokeness is not a thing, all right? There's literally like political correctness and non-political correctness. I think we can all agree that there should be some like level-headed, common sense based system to decide what is politically correct and what's not. Some of the stuff we see that people act, incredulous about is absurd.
I see somebody call woke the gritty. They were like, the gritty is like woke. Like everybody just
So I guess
but I don't care about Adidas dropping him. Who cares? It don't affect me. Who cares?
No, not at all. But so your question, would Adidas, you think they could have rolled the storm if they would have
just rolled it out?
Okay, I guess
because look at us. We're a week late talking about it. We took last week off from recording. We're technically a week late. Still hot news. It's hanging on a bit. You know what I mean? We've had some bigger things. A lot of things happened today, but like it's still hanging on a tad, and he ain't stopping. You know what I mean?
don't think they could have at this juncture.
But I feel like one more week, it'd just be.
I don't know. I don't think so because two things. Number one, there's no way they could have ignored him literally going like, Adidas can't drop me. I could say the most anti-Semitic stuff. What is Adidas going to do? He's literally calling them out, baiting them in. There's no way they could have ignored that, number one, because had they ignored that, you would have just given him the actual battery that he thinks he needs in his back, and he would have went even worse. He'd have been like, see, guys, I called out Adidas. I said whatever I wanted to on his platform, and I said Adidas can't even drop me. Now what?
And we didn't say it earlier, but he did say on Drink Champs, he said, well, when I become the CEO of Adidas. I'm like, wait a minute, fam. You think you just taking the company from some
dog? And it was not even just what he said, it's how he said it. Now what, Adidas? He's literally like baiting them in. There's no way that they could have.
Corporations don't respond, so nothing's.
Corporations don't respond unless it's someone that could potentially harm them. And Kanye West, despite me not liking him, like he's had the ability and power to potentially harm their business.
Nobody, the CEO ain't putting a statement out regarding Kanye.
No.
And none of their social media people matter enough to make the company.
But there's no way that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, there's no way they could have. There's no way they could have just like sat this one out.
I looked at like, and because we've been talking about Kanye for months now. It's just always something.
Years.
Yeah, years. And I just never understood. And I said this the last time we were on with Mikey Dad. When Mike was on, I said, how long do you take him trash talking you? Like, it wasn't to the extent of like trying to like sneak diss them with their own Nazi ways and him being, whatever. That's what he was doing. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, what you gonna drop me for being this way? With knowing your history? That's what he was doing. But I've always been like, how long is Adidas? Fam, have some guts.
Yeah.
Get rid of this clown. And I wasn't like, oh, don't because he's black. It was just like, out of just the sheer respect and understanding, it's like, fam, this is your, like, how could you let this guy beat you up? Oh, and in the interview, him talking about showing porn to the Adidas execs.
Isn't that wild?
Because he was trying to make a point that like people that wear Nike gets hoes and people that wear Adidas don't. Fam, what? He said, when girls, when somebody with a girl, there's a pair of Air Force Ones on the side of the bed. What are you talking about? Adidas should have been like, hey, security.
Yeah, get this man out.
They showed a video of him like this to people like showing porn video. Fam.
He does that.
Like, you were sick. Like, it's a weird thing that you're trying to equate something but have this higher level of thought process to the world to free your people, but your things is showing porn. Like, it's like you're off, man.
Clearly Adidas was sticking with him for the check because we all know that Kanye made Adidas the past few years.
Well, here's the thing with me. Yes, the money is there, but I've always said this is more important to companies than people want to say. The hype is there. The feeling that they have in the culture is there. You don't have a Kanye. What do we legit feel about Adidas now? Like, I like Adidas a lot because I like their clothes and I like some of their stuff, but it was a sense of additional cool that one of the most iconic people is on your brand.
Well, and see, here's the thing. So that's what we think, right? That's what we think as a culture. But I think that's why when they put out that press release, and they almost like let you know, like, hey, this is only going to hurt us just a little bit, you know, for business. Like Q4, we're probably going to lose, they said, like a 250 mil, you know what I mean? But then we'll keep it moving because we're still Adidas and we still have that. We still have the soccer, you know, whole soccer game.
Yeah, they're not poor.
I think they know that.
They got the World Cup coming up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they know that we think that. We feel as a culture that, like, oh, Adidas ain't shit without Kanye. But they're letting us know, like, oh, no, we're good. Like, we don't, they know, they're telling us they don't need Kanye West. They told us that by saying we own everything.
Yeah, but see, I think, like,
they don't need Kanye himself.
Like, I've said this numerous times. Adidas has, like, settled into being number 2. They're okay with it. They're like, look, we ain't beat Nike. We're okay. We're still rich. We're still Adidas. We're nothing. But presence in the culture, I think, is really valuable to all the brands. I think even to Adidas. Like, come on, really think about it.
I don't know if
really
it is.
Think about it. And you know, I don't know if we'll have time to get to that question that Mr. Unloved Ones posted, but like, I mean, maybe, well, I don't know. But like, think of like, if somebody posted 100 IG pics today of Adidas, I would probably say 90 of them would be a Yeezy. Like, ain't nobody posting a picture of they Ultra Boost today or their shell toe today.
Okay, but here's the thing though.
Adidas, Kanye made you like, okay, it's that effect of business and marketing. I came here for the Kanye sneaker, but the Adidas jacket is kind of fire too. Like, I can't wear Nikes with the, let me go ahead and grab the people that come for the
Kanye. There are sales that happen like that, but I don't think that's a large part
I know, but like, you still want to be cool. Like, it matters to them. Hype matters to them. You have to have some type of a little bit of hype around. I told somebody this, and I could be jumping out the window. I do that time from time. I said I wouldn't be shocked if you start seeing these lower end Adidas at your Walmarts and stuff like that.
Not at all.
Wouldn't shock me.
Not at all. You know why? Because
wouldn't shock me.
I'm
not talking about Ultra Boost. I'm talking about like them low Adidas.
No, in a sense, Adidas is still out here without Kanye West because we don't wear it, but Pharrell is still pretty prominent in the whole Adidas space. And then when Beyonce wants to drop, the world stops. No, don't do that.
That's debatable.
No, it's not debatable.
Highly debatable.
Why is it debatable? Everything Ivy Park goes very quick.
Not everything.
Everything.
No, Don. No, it doesn't.
Everything that says
First drop,
Ivy
yes.
Park.
Second drop, no. Third drop, no way.
People wear Ivy Park. Now, it may not be like a whole Nike drop, like it sells out immediately and like, oh, it's in the know. But if you walk up and down the street, everybody's dipped in Ivy Park.
George, what you got confirmed that for? You had it for Yeezys, right?
Reselling.
But reselling what?
We all got it for Yeezys, yes.
Yeezys. That's it.
But
I guarantee the deletion of the amount of deletes from that app, which matters. There's a reason why these companies have 2 and 3 apps.
I doubt it.
All right.
I genuinely feel, man, that they before
well, you're assuming they put a lot of product on there to begin with. I'm sure they didn't put much product on there to begin with. I mean, they do a release or two.
No. Confirmed is strictly for drops.
Right.
But the main drop is Yeezys. Maybe Ivy Park and all that drops on there.
You know why? Because if they don't put any product on there, then it doesn't really matter.
No, look, that page, see, that's the problem with these apps too as well. Nike is doing a great job of trying to get you to pay attention to the content on their page. I legit will scroll through sneakers and look at a few things here and there. If you go through Confirmed app, there's a grip of content and information and stuff on there. Has anybody ever went on there and looked?
No, because we just want the
what
resale.
I say.
But wait,
who's that guy? Mark Gonzalez?
How are you equating this to their business though? Because you can't.
No. I know the money. The money's there. They're not broke. It's not about the money. You want to be valued by the people. You want to be cool. regardless if you could beat Nike or not, you have to want a little bit of cool. You could talk about soccer and all that. Cool, you're making your money. You're not going broke. Us changing our minds now, buying any Adidas, we're not going broke. I will never pay full price for any Adidas unless it was a Yeezy, and I don't buy Yeezys anyway.
I just don't think that that's ever really been Adidas' business model to try to be cool.
Oh, no. Yes, they did.
Hold on.
They did. There was one point where I argued that Adidas was becoming much cooler than Nike.
No, comfort. When they were killing with Ultra Boosts, they were doing it for comfort, and the only reason why it became cool because Kanye wore it. Now Nike, Nike since day one, even since like late 80s, early 90s, they've always tried to be cooler than everybody with what? Ads, commercials, things like that. Trying to be in the know, trying to be in the mix. Adidas never did that. Adidas really didn't care about being cool.
They tried.
When?
With Ingram, and they had a few commercials that they were dropping when stuff was coming out.
They weren't trying to be cool though. They weren't trying to be in the mix. They were, here's my point.
And they never did a Kanye ad, really.
Here's my point. Nike since day one has always been about hype. Adidas hasn't. Maybe that's not their business model. Once they took over soccer, we keep saying soccer because soccer is the number one sport in the world. They don't care about being cool because they've got soccer.
It's not only soccer though. They have track and field.
No, I know. But my point is that's their bread.
Hockey.
Bro, they've got the Olympics. Like Adidas is not, their business model has never really tried to be hype, cool, all of that shit until they got in that space. That's why to me, I think it's fine if they're not trying to be like hip like Nike. Nike has to have that. Without hype, there is no Nike. Without hype.
I don't believe that.
Why not?
We're too enthralled, and we're too enthralled with it. We don't need Nike to hype us up anymore.
Yes, we do.
No. We don't need it, but then it happens. Nike will make an ad that'll tug at your heartstrings, all right?
But we're not going to go buy that product.
Oh, no, but it makes you feel a certain way about it.
But it doesn't make you go buy it.
Look, Kanye made you feel something with Adidas. Maybe not a lot, maybe a little. It made you feel something.
No, it was hype.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's my point. Adidas only gave a damn about hype when Kanye jumped on the train. Before then, there was no hype. You can't tell me somebody that made you hyped about Adidas.
I don't think people are influenced by Kanye. People are influenced by like everyone else wanted the shoe. So you wanted what he had.
Exactly.
But that's not Kanye. That's just like...
Oh, no, it's Kanye.
No, it's not.
Because Kanye made them want it so bad that made you want it so bad. If there's nobody to make you want it so bad that you make me want it...
He just gave you the point with Nike.
That's different. Nike is too steeped with history and their models and stuff like that for us to feel a certain way.
But they weren't cool until we...
Fam, all Nike has to do is say, we putting the Nike swoosh on the back of a Jordan and we like, okay.
Because of hype. That's hype, though.
That's not hype.
How's that not hype?
That's just history. There's nothing. All Nike has to do is say, "Oh, y'all was asking for military blues for us with the Nike on the." We got
there's
you.
Probably
fam.
a large. There's probably a large portion of people that wanted Yeezys because they were Yeezy, but it's not. I guarantee you, it wasn't the masses. The masses were just like, okay, this shoe looks cool. Everyone else wearing it. If you go to school and you wear it, and people are like, "Oh my God, you got that!" Oh my,
yes, that. Now You said that nobody would want Yeezys if it wasn't Yeezy tied to it.
I still agree to that.
You still agree to that?
Yeah, that Wave Runner is whack without a Yeezy name tied to it. I firmly believe that, and you believe that.
I said Yeezy, Kanye's name is more important than his shoes. It's more valuable to it.
Well, yeah, because again,
but that goes back to what the
Kanye and Adidas.
I like the Wave Runner. I think it would sell regardless.
Kanye and Adidas wouldn't even be a thing if he never wore an Ultra.
No, wouldn't have.
Yeah, what? Look at all the other shoes from every other brand. Them dad shoes.
No. It was way too expensive. Okay,
that ain't the point though.
No. You're willing to pay that because it's a Kanye.
That's fine. If it's 180, they're still going to make a ton of money on it. I mean,
it wouldn't have sold only because before then the dad shoe wasn't really a thing yet.
It being a Kanye made me look at it a little bit closer than my initial thoughts.
Of course, y'all did.
I was like, "These suck."
So
and then I was
why
like,
do you buy? So why do you buy?
A second look.
So why do you buy Masha's shoe then? Because you like the shoe, right?
I do like the shoe.
You paying $300 because you like the shoe.
I mean,
dad shoe movement, whatever you want to call it. Kanye had nothing to do with dad shoes. He had that specific shoe, but it was already happening.
Okay, so let's rebranding.
Now, the point that you made about the price, absolutely Kanye. But if they did it for 180, it would have flowed.
Now, let's talk about rebranding. Adidas owns 10 models still, okay? There's like 3 variations of the 350. The original 350 V1, the 750, the very first Adidas that came out.
Yeah, the high top.
Well, if they
the
re-release-
700 V2, V3.
Listen,
Yeah.
they can re-release all of them, but they got to do it at about 40% less price.
Oh,
and
100%.
it will sell.
Okay, I'm going to be the point I made. Now, do you think anybody still cop?
Yeah, of
Yes,
course.
absolutely.
Really?
But
Yes.
they're Kanye stands, fam.
Not
He
at
can
that.
say,
Not at the price. At 40% less.
he
yes.
can say whatever he wants, and they're still gonna buy.
Well,
it.
hold on. You said we wouldn't want them without Kanye. If Kanye wasn't tied to
But
them,
at that
we
point-
wouldn't want them.
Okay.
Why would I want them?
Because you already know it came from Kanye. It was conceptual. Yes. Stop.
It's
stop.
a fake now.
No, stop. It's not.
It's a fake,
It's
Don.
not, because you know where the origin came from. We saw Kanye wear it. Look, if they re-release, you
It's
said
a
the V1.
fake.
If they re-release Pirate Blacks and they just call it Pirate Black Adidas, you know it's Kanye West's shoe. Don't do that. Stop it, because it's still gonna look the same. It's still gonna feel the same. It's still gonna wear the same. It is a Kanye West sneaker,
I
despite
think it
them
would
taking
sell
the name
for like
off.
160.
It doesn't matter if it's still for $10. I know what you're
Adidas
trying to do.
will-
No, hold
Adidas
on.
will
I know
put
what you're trying to
foot
do.
you wear on it. They put 4D on it. They
It's
ruin it.
still,
Honestly, they should do what Nike did. They should disrespect it.
it's still.
Nike
Nike.
didn't do nothing.
They released Red Octobers after he was gone.
No, but they didn't release Red October's later after he's gone. They didn't release any of the Yeezys since they left. That's
No,
just-
Red Octobers came out after he left.
yes, but they didn't like come out like years after he left. We still like, yo, they're
Man,
gonna
this
retro
ain't- he
Yeezy
just
2s.
left last week. I mean, what are you talking about? This ain't years later.
Look.
Adidas should make all those models for like 40% less price.
That point you were trying to put
Just to spite him.
that doesn't work because
Because
Kanye's
it would
already
entertain me.
Kanye's already worn the shoe. We already know it's tied to Kanye, so that doesn't
and they
work.
couldn't make them cheaper if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could.
Fam, Ultra Boost, Ultra Boost, a regular GL Ultra Boost is $200.
Do you know why
What
they
they gonna
could?
do with what they gonna do with the shoe that we know is a Kanye? What they gonna do with that? 140?
Wait.
Yeah, right.
Are you asking, can they afford to do it? Or are you asking, will they do it?
Will they?
I think they can afford to do it. That's a different
Can
question.
I think they
yes.
will.
Will you think they'll drop the price?
They're
on it?
going to take
Stop.
the Yeezy brand name off and drop it maybe 10, 20
Hold on.
bucks.
There is no Yeezys that are really branded by Kanye. None of them. None of them say Kanye on them. None of them say Yeezy. None of them got a face on it.
Pirate Black One's got Yeezy on the side.
They
What
say
are you talking
Yeezy
about?
on the
Pirate Black
insole.
ones.
Whatever they are. The
Oh,
original.
okay,
All
they
them
got that.
350
all
say
them
Yeezy on
350s
the
got
insole.
Yeezy on there.
What's 350s?
Every 350 says Yeezy on the
V1.
insole.
I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
V2s.
V1. They all
I
got
don't
that Yeezy on the insole thing. You
V2
take
as
that
well.
off?
Oh,
no,
well,
no.
I mean,
V2 says
on
supply.
the actual shoe, yes. Well,
it says supply 350.
no, on one of them, which is I think it's the
I haven't
750.
looked
One of
at
them,
one in a while.
no,
I don't know. But
on the
Pirate Black,
750,
on the ones, they got it.
on the 750, that god awful high top one, on the zipper it says YZY.
Fam, the zipper.
It's still a part of the shoe. And
Like,
then on the
That should have been everybody's argument.
on Easy Ones at Nike on the heel tab on the pull, it says Yeezy.
Yeah, dude.
And then on the Yeezy 2s, when you take the strap off, it says Yeezy in the middle. So what are you talking about? It's branded.
It's not enough.
How's it not enough?
None of that is not enough to
Bro, it's
alter
kind-
the shoe.
yeah.
No, it's not enough.
Oh, no. Okay, so I agree. They can,
Pirate Black,
they can
like
re-release
hold
it
on,
as is.
Pirate Black, you just said they took that little Yeezy off on the insole. That's it.
Okay, so
It looks the exact
so then
same.
why wouldn't they want it at this point? Because we already know it's Kanye West's shoe, and they say, "Hey guys,
I really don't. I'm sorry. I don't think it.
they still
I
are going
think-
to buy it."
You don't think what?
I don't think anybody want them. I'm sorry.
Fam, you might almost buy it. If right now, tomorrow, they came out and said, "Hey, Yeezy-less turtle doves," but it looks
They're not
exactly
going
the
to make
same.
a million.
I can't do that then.
Listen.
I can't go. Hold on. I can't go. I'm never buying a Yeezy again. But if they rebrand them without Yeezy, then I'll buy them.
You would
Because your
consider it.
because your argument is we all know they're still Yeezys.
We do know.
They're not going to make a million pairs of them like they do currently, but I guarantee. Well, okay, I can't say guarantee.
I was gonna say they might.
I can't say guarantee, but
They
I
might
would
hold
not
that
be
shoe.
surprised if they made something to spite him. Because Nike did it.
Fam, you talk like they've been talking about retro in a Yeezy 2
No,
for
but
the
you know what
last
they
I don't know
did.
how many
But you know what they
years,
did,
though.
DA though?
What does that have to do
hold
with
on.
anything?
They didn't necessarily retro Kanye's shoe, but tell me they didn't hoe out a couple of his colorways at Nike.
Yes, of
They
course.
took that
used
black
the
and pink
colorways.
and whatever and hold it out
Solar
for the,
Red and all
Fam,
that
yeah,
stuff.
They releasing dunks saying like October, Red October dunk, Red October foams. Like, don't do that. They hold the mess out of his colorways.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. I think as strong as you guys talked about the chokehold he has on some of these people on the internet, I think that chokehold is strong enough for them to say, I won't even support these lookalikes.
I doubt it.
I really believe it. And like I said, you know how I feel about remaking. So it's a replica. It's a fake now.
Oh, I agree with you there. It means nothing. Because tomorrow, if they say, hey, guys, Kanye's no longer with us, but we know you guys like the Pirate Black V1. Man, people are going to go ape shit. Sell out. Confirm that.
I guess. I mean,
I think
do you
people
think they'll even do it?
buy it.
You think they'll do it?
Yes.
I don't think they will. I don't think
all of them.
I don't think they. I don't think they should.
Now, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. I think they should just go like, no, kill it. I kill it all.
I think they in that press
It'll be
release.
funny to me.
In that press release, I think it said that they kind of were going to do that.
Too. Well, they said I think the press release they said they could.
Well, no, I think because they were like, we own the past and what's about to come out.
Colorways about to come out.
So I think a couple more might drop.
Oh, yeah.
And
They're
then
gonna drop
after that, it's finito.
I would end the entire brand and I'd make him prove that he can do something on his own because I don't believe it. Like I've said on this podcast, he doesn't have the guts to do so. He doesn't have the guts to do so. He only has the guts to try to force people out of their stuff. Just like Georgia brought up earlier, going to Skechers is a clear, egotistical, narcissist move of like, he thought he showed up to Skechers campus. He thought Skechers were going to be like, oh my God.
Fam, and listen.
Roll the carpet out. Yes, we forgive you.
Exactly. And to you Kanye stans, you're not going to like what I'm about to say. But hey, Kanye is not creative enough to create his own sneaker.
He's not.
Do you know why? What is he walking around wearing right now? God awful rubber boots. Where did he just take that from?
Fam.
Balenciaga. He never wore an ugly ass boot until he wore them Balenciaga joints. And then a month later he goes, hey guys, I'm making my own indestructible one. You put this boot on. It's the same thing. He was just wearing them with the Balenciaga joints.
Indestructible one.
Kanye West is not creative, guys. I'm sorry. I can go on a tangent, but I'm not going to.
Now,
damn near. And
don't wild out too much.
Do you want me to say it first real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
Musically, on the production side, yes. Do you want me to get on the bars?
No,
That's
hold
a whole
on.
other conversation.
He's a genius producer.
Yeah, hold on.
No, I know.
Now, I was going to say that point earlier, but I was like, I'm just going to hold it. Listening to Kanye music, I can honestly say that I've never focused on the bars ever, like Pac. That was the one thing about it, because his production and the composition and the ordering of his music made it flow so well. You just love to hear it and the rhythm, but I wasn't like, ooh.
I mean, I think Kanye can rhyme. I don't think he's gonna battle Black Thought or anything.
Yeah. Kanye
can rhyme.
I think Kanye used to be able to rhyme. I don't know if he
can
rhyme anymore.
Because he had amazing ghostwriters in the beginning, and he hold them. No, well, I don't either. No, here's my point. You can see that, and this is a whole other conversation. You can see the difference in his music and the quality because he had Consequence, he had Sci-Hi, he had Big Sean, all these. He had Common that could write him amazing bars that we went, oh, damn. He doesn't have any of them now. He killed all those relationships. So now you get swoop diddy poop rhymes, and you get the shit that he said on Donda.
Swoop diddy poop.
Did he not say that? Because he's like, I don't even know what to say anymore. Or you get the,
swoop diddy poop is funny.
All the shit on Donda and all the whack shit he says. That's my point. So, and then tying into fashion, he has no creative output. He had to go to Nike. He needed Mark Parker and them to help them design something. He took designs that were already there to create something. Did the same with Yeezy.
And you're right. But let me tell you why you're right. And because you probably forgot this, he said this in a podcast. They asked him about him being a designer. And he said, hold on, I don't want to disrespect designers. I don't cut. I don't sew. I don't design anything. He said, I'm Steve Jobs. That's what he said. Which Steve Jobs is historically like known for like just being like the mind behind it, but he ain't made a single thing in his entire life.
Steve Jobs is a
no. In the beginning, yes, he had to create that that base for of Apple. He had in that moment.
Steve Jobs is an engineer. That's the same thing as a designer.
He is, but like he wasn't physically doing anything. That's what I've always heard about. And which
I
don't
disagree
understand
with that. I mean,
Well,
I'm not going to look it up. I'm too
I was gonna
lazy.
say, I
but
kinda-
Either way,
Bill Gates started Microsoft.
Yeah,
that means he was doing engineering at the beginning.
That was Kanye's example. He wouldn't disrespect designers by calling himself a designer. He
I think-
considers himself. He calls himself a visionary.
That's
of it.
fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying Steve
Which is a
Jobs
real
is
thing.
probably using the wrong guy.
Which
He's
is a real
a
thing. So
mid-visionary.
me and my wife, we love watching like the competition reality shows where you make clothes, Project Runway. We just love the competition of it, and we like clothes, right? There are people that get on these shows, they can't make nothing for themselves.
Yeah.
Because they just like draw it and they say, here you go. And these other people make it and they go, switch this off. Here you go. They switch it off. Add a star. Here you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. They didn't do
What are
nothing.
you talking about? They can't sew it together? That's different.
Yeah, no, hold on. But these shows that me and my wife watch, they cut, they sew. All the other designers in there cutting and sewing know how to use a sewing machine. They know how to use that.
You ain't a designer at that point. You just a sewing person.
No.
That's the way I look at it.
No. They're doing both. They're drawing their sketches,
If you
designing it, and all
if you
that.
developed a code and you give the code to someone else to write, they're just a code writer. You are the engineer. You developed it.
But I see.
I don't
you
view that the same
designed it.
thing, though. I don't view that the same thing.
But you saying they did
no.
this and gave it to them.
If I said, yo, make some flared out jeans with gold rivets, white stars.
so
and
you
use tan
didn't
thread.
draw it or nothing.
You didn't design that.
I mean, if you draw it, that's fine. But I don't know if you could call yourself a designer.
No.
Because anybody can do that. Because there are places that you can just literally go to a seamstress and draw what you think. Like, he made me these custom pants and do that and give it to it. That'll make you a designer.
No. If you draw
I
it, that's a
mean,
little
I
different.
disagree. I think
don't
it's the
know.
opposite.
Because at that
I
point,
think it's
if
the
you
opposite.
Maybe.
yeah,
I mean,
if
maybe
you
I'm-
drew it
I don't
out,
know.
A
you just
seamstress ain't designing nothing. They're just putting your work together for you.
I don't know. Maybe.
We about to be here till about 10 p.m. So we talk about all these
well,
things. So
well,
it's
look.
already 8:30.
What are we talking about, Kanye?
I don't know.
Adidas?
You were
Look.
saying Adidas rebrand, all that good stuff. They're gonna rebrand it.
No, they're not.
A couple shoes are gonna come out.
No, more shoes are going to come out that are already scheduled to come out, and then that's it. They cook the.
They're dropping. They're gonna drop at least one Yeezyless.
I want to
Yeezy.
know if they were going to make a Yeezy basketball shoe with OG Man, because if they were, it's probably not coming out now.
Does Fear of God need to? They need to do something with Fear of God, like expand him the lifestyle.
Oh, he
versus
needs to
basketball?
step up now, or they might be cooked.
Somebody said that they seen him. He was shook. Somebody posted a picture had this man with a cigarette. Like,
I mean, he looked like that kind of type from the very beginning.
What do y'all want me to do? Anyways, man, that's all we got today. I think I would talk on the Mr. Unloved Ones topic. We can save that for another time. Want to do NFL picture pick and go home?
Really quick,
Go ahead.
I know we were gonna touch on it, we didn't, but I do want to say rest in peace to Takeoff. That was super sad. Thoughts and prayers to Quavo and all the family. I think it's devastating that Quavo himself had to like watch his brother die right there. I can't even imagine what he's going through.
That was crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So
Especially considering how they said it all went down.
exactly,
You
and
seen
it was
that text message or whatever?
Which one?
The screenshots that people were sharing.
Oh,
text
yeah,
message. Okay.
yes,
but
and
like,
I can't
they
even,
got the video now.
They
Of
got
him,
the
like,
video. I can't
arguing
watch
with the
it.
guy, and
Yep.
then they started shooting.
exactly.
Who got the video?
It's
TMZ.
posted on everything.
It was just on academics. I didn't watch it. I saw it. I scrolled and I saw the video start, and I didn't even watch it.
Like-
So they said he started the argument.
Yeah, Quavo was arguing with the
Quavo
guy.
was arguing with somebody else.
And I watched the argument video, and they're like arguing about clearly, like they said,
Right.
Quavo was getting washed in dice
Right.
or something. They start arguing. Quavo starts talking about something. The other guy says something like, let's play basketball then. And Quavo's like, man, you would have seen me play basketball. They just start arguing about like stuff. Now, honestly, and then Quavo goes, man, forget this. Man, I'm out of here, man.
See, I didn't even know that.
Start walking. I thought like, oh shit, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what, man, you got it. I'm out
Well,
of
it
here.
probably was because he didn't pay yet or something. Or
Whatever
maybe.
it was, he was like, man, you know what, I'm out of here. You got it. And then they started shooting for whatever reason. Now they don't show what's his name get shot or nothing like
Right.
that. But the fact of like,
Most videos don't ever catch that.
well, they
I'm
kind
sure they
of did.
I'm sure they got security camera or
Oh
something
no,
in there.
there's footage of it.
But
up
I
there.
hate the fact of like,
But you ain't never gonna see
I
that.
hate the fact of like, because when the news first came out, it's like argument shootout. The argument happened how I would hope an argument would happen. Man, you know what, fam? I'm out of here. That's what I would hope.
Yeah.
Just like you said, we got to that age to where there's certain things that bother me. Somebody be like, yo, Greg, you a pussy. You know what, fam? I got kids. I'm going home.
Yeah, you got it.
My pussy today,
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't give a shit. I got to
Yeah.
go home, though. Like, and back in the day,
But now it's different. It's like
there was keywords.
Michael J. Fox,
Woo.
you yellow. I watched that the other day.
Boy, there was some keywords, boy.
15 they call you
100%.
yellow.
1,000%.
Lord, now it's like, you know what? You got it, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, look, you trying to go home. I'm trying to go home. Let's just do
Look,
it.
man, I'm gonna pick up some Chipotle. you
Yeah,
good,
facts,
buddy?
facts.
Like, I'm a BA nigga. All right, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, buddy, what you want me to do? I'm going home to paint pumpkins with my kids. What you want from me?
I'm gonna watch some Disney movies.
I'm like, I put in 2 raffles for some Crocs, buddy.
Came out. The last one I saw, they was like calling 911 or whatever.
Like,
no, it's on like academics page, but I couldn't watch it because I don't like watching stuff like that. But yeah, TMZ got it. But nah, man, look, that's got to be rough. Like
that sucks.
You're right there, and but the thing is like they said it was 2:30 in the morning. It's a closed location, so you're already you're doing everything you're supposed to do. You got a closed bowling alley. You got your people. You're already supposed to feel comfortable and feel safe. You know what I mean? And then this still happens. So
I understand all that too, Don. And I really do, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but this goes to me with like Kanye and the Migos and stuff like that. Like, how rich and successful do you have to be to where you just don't?
I don't think
I get that they're in a setting, that they're private setting. It's them and what they think are homeboys, and it's this and that, and all of the above. Now, he got shot by somebody that they were with. That sucks for him, too.
Yeah.
But
wait, what?
He got shot by one of the people he was with. He started shooting first.
Oh, on accident.
Yeah, on accident.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's clearly
I seen that note, but who knows if that note was real or not.
But I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just wish they were at home.
I know. I understand what you're saying.
I value yourself as well as your accomplishments. That's my thing with Kanye. He never values everything he's worked for. Like, if you're willing to do this in one interview with Nori and DJ Effin, you willing to lose all the stuff he talk about being swindled into these deals. Fam, please swindle me into $1 billion, please.
See, and that's
take advantage of me for $1 billion, please. I would gladly, please.
I didn't even touch on that, but it's like every single time I hear him talk about, I'm upset they're doing this. Fam, you signed that shit. You signed the Balenciaga deal. You signed the Gap deal. You signed the Adidas deal. So when you're sitting there saying,
show me the dotted line that I could sign and be a billionaire and be like, whoa, they did me dirty. I only got $1 billion. He called it a little billion. He said they tried to give him a little billion.
See. Look, man, we're off that
billion.
Takeoff. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Like you said.
Condolences to the family. Quavo. Bro, that's his blood brother. I can't even imagine.
I think it was his nephew or uncle.
Yeah. That's Quavo's nephew and Offset's
cousin. I thought they were brothers.
Takeoff and Offset are cousins.
It's something.
Quavo and Takeoff are.
But you know what?
Uncle.
That's another thing of like. That's another thing of like. We sort of grew up with them too. Like, now we were older when they kind of hit the scene.
Yeah.
But you watched them evolve to like, what is this music? To like, hey, some of this stuff was kind of a bop. Like,
oh, for sure.
And just the appreciation of them lasted as long as they did and working as hard and gaining the stuff that they done.
Damn,
like,
they're only 28.
They're 28 years old. Yes, but like, fam, all you young cats, go home, fam. Just go home.
Yeah.
Smoke your weed, drink your liquor in your house.
Yeah.
Download a sports betting app. Don't be out here throwing dice.
At 3 in the morning.
Get yourself some DraftKings and bet all the money you want. Drake is doing sports betting in a mansion.
Or throw dice at the crib.
So,
fam, I ain't throwing dice with nobody.
Let's just say,
I'm not taking an individual person's money. That's what I've learned. I'm not placing a bet with you. Like, now we homies and stuff like that. I get it. But like, shoot, I'm not gonna be lying to you. You know how many pairs of sneakers I've lost in bets? I still feel some type of way. Now I ain't gonna do nothing to them.
But I
learned I ain't doing none of this one-on-one bet because it sucks to get my sneakers away.
Let's say this first.
And I don't want to take money from y'all.
It's sad that people can't hang out and not have to worry about that.
That's the ultimatum.
At the same time, be realistic about those situations.
If all of you guys continue to do this, even at your own events, hey buddy, leave the guns in the car. No. Everybody guns go in the car. Y'all want to have a big scrap out brawl and tear the building up? Knock yourself out. I don't care. This is my private party. I'm leaving my guns. You leave yours. Just in case, even though we're all homies.
Especially if it's a homie.
In case.
Yeah.
I don't even want it.
So we still don't know what happened. Basically.
Arguing over supposedly what is said in the text messages that the guy was really.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Who are they arguing with? If they're with all their friends.
Some like mob tie, like some other group of type stuff. Like it's some street
politics. I feel
Houston
bad.
people. Or no.
Houston people, like some street politic type stuff thing.
Rest in peace, my G. That's crazy.
Rest in peace, man. You know, there's a lot of people we don't say that to. But let's do. I don't want to talk about that more. Let's do NFL picks real quick. Knocking these out quick and get the heck out of here. I got a dookie.
Oh, well, there's that.
So you go ahead. I already know all my picks.
No, you know.
This is the worst football season of all time.
Did I beat you last week? I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, but I watched you the week before, so it don't matter.
Both of y'all
Yeah, but it's
said Jaguars. And guess what? Broncos country. hey, let's ride. What did he say? Let's ride.
Somebody said,
Let's ride.
I love when he says it. I'm glad he still says it.
Broncos country, let's ride.
somebody said, oh man, I gotta find it. It was on a video. They said something about like the icon on the screen or something for the Broncos should be changed to "Let's Ride."
I agree.
Like that.
But I'm
Really
gonna be
should.
honest
I
though about
can't
that
remember
game
what
because it was funny. You know, it was like the early game because it was in London. So I'm like, am I really gonna wake up at 6:30 to watch this? But I did, right? And then what's the first play of the game? He threw a pick. I'm like, God damn it, Wilson! If you got me up at 6:30 a.m. to watch you do this bullshit, I'm gonna be pissed. So thankfully they rallied back up because I was about to be hot. Sunday at 6:30 in the morning, I still got crust in my eyes, and he's throwing picks.
The Jaguars are fakers. We got faked out by their win in San Diego or whatever it was. You picked them to win too. What are you talking about?
Let's ride.
Fam,
you did. Both of y'all did.
Making them pick and riding for them before the season started are two different things.
Riding for them.
You were
still picking.
You know what? Let's make picks, man. Let's go home, man.
I just said after that game. You said before the season. Nobody right. You talking about the quarterback or the team?
Oh, yo, he gonna show you.
That's one player.
No, but he gonna show you means the team gonna go somewhere.
No, it doesn't.
You want to talk about individual stats? He gonna show you. You was talking about the Jaguars gonna be different.
No, I was not. I was talking about T-Law is underrated.
He sucked last year and he sucks this year.
He sucked last year because he had the worst NFL coach in history.
And he sucks this year with a decent NFL coach.
When I said it, he did not suck because they were 2-0 or 3-0 or 3-1 or whatever it was. Now they suck.
Hey, when
Things
we're done,
change, Mr.
I'm about to
Flip
grab
Flopper.
like 3 or 4
You
more
know
of these
more
joints.
about flip flopping than anybody in this room.
Chewy joints are crazy. I'm grabbing 3
I
more.
know where
on
they
the way
are
out.
too. They in the drawer.
Chocolate chip.
Let's make these picks so we can go home. You
I'm about to
Raiders
eat
fan.
more of these on the way home.
Don't flip flop.
I don't flip flop on nothing.
Oh, you flip flop. Eagle Thursday night football. Eagles at Texans.
Eagles. I mean,
Eagles.
undeniable.
Eagles might go undefeated this year. Though. The only loss I
It's
have them
impossible.
scheduled is for them losing to Dallas and
And
Dallas.
that's another
the
quarterback
only
that
one,
I
though.
talked up a lot, and you hated on me.
No,
and-
I didn't. You quit saying that.
No, I won't because
I've
I'm right.
listened to the pod. He's been on Hurt since day
Yes,
one.
and we all were.
Me.
Just because he was more of it than we were.
Me.
Nobody ever talked bad about Hurts.
Jalen
ever.
Hurts bandwagon. Let's ride.
I hope he owns that, Wilson. I hope he owns that.
He has to,
He
especially
has
after.
to.
That's right.
He has to. Once it went viral on
Let's
social
ride.
media, him and the Broncos should have been racing to the trademark office or wherever you go. patent office.
So they were talking about like the difference between Russell Wilson and Jameis, like which one. Like Russell Wilson don't realize he's goofy. Jameis realizes he's goofy, but they still might not.
They still
don't know because Jameis did that rap before the game. Did you see that? Freestyle before the game. That's why they won, fam. They won because he freestyled.
That's right.
Game number 2, Sunday morning. Raiders at Jaguars. Jaguars by approximately 7,000 points.
Okay. I got Jags on that, yeah.
I guess the Jags.
Oh, there you go.
That's the worst game of the year.
We've seen worse. We've seen worse on like Thursday and Sunday night football. Or Monday night football.
My team has given you 3 of the worst games this season so far.
Every game, most of the games I consider whack, it has to do with the Raiders or the Broncos this year.
Sunday night
Every
game
single
trash, Monday night game trash,
No.
Thursday night
Yeah.
game trash.
Bears. I can go down the list.
Bears what?
No.
Commandants.
I love my team. We gave you the most.
Broncos definitely hitting the lead for worst
You said
teams this
or
season.
Broncos, so I didn't bring them up. So Bears, Commandants. I'm gonna just go down the list of teams that are super whack that have given us super whack games. What is it? Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers might be the worst team in NFL history.
Not that bad.
One of the most historic franchises in sports history.
They stink. You want to talk about stink? Vikings at Commandants.
Vikings.
Don't do it. Just say Vikings.
Jefferson,
Don't do it.
Jefferson about to
Look,
go.
man, don't.
They're
act
gonna
like-
lose at
hold
some
on.
point, but it ain't the Commandants
Hold
that's
on.
gonna do it.
Don't act like the Commanders ain't on a 4-game winning streak now. Let's not act like that.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
That's impossible because they're 4-4. They didn't start 0-4.
4-game, then 3-game winning streak.
Yeah, 3. They
Look,
beat the Bears,
so
Packers, and Colts. 3 of the worst teams in the league.
so.
It matters.
All right, I'm gonna go.
And they beat the Bears 12-7, which
Commanders.
is officially the worst game of the season.
I'm going Commanders.
No, I don't do that.
Already going it.
Vikings. Vikings are going to lose, but it ain't to them.
I said Vikings.
Oh,
no,
all
I said
right.
Jefferson. Jefferson going to do.
Jefferson be invisible sometimes.
It's fine. It works.
Panthers at Bengals.
Is Jamar back yet?
He's not coming back.
Man, you want to talk about a
6
team that
weeks.
looks whack without one
Panthers.
That's what I'm saying. He looked terrible.
Bengals
Panthers.
look
I might
so
have to say
bad.
Panthers.
I picked Browns last week, too. You picked Bengals, by the way.
Panthers.
I might have to say Panthers.
Panthers.
I'm probably going to.
Panthers scored about 40
Bro,
in
didn't know
Atlanta.
what to do. He was like, damn, who the hell do I throw to?
I'm going to pick Bengals. I know I shouldn't. but-
What?
You right, but hey, we can't have every pick the same. So, Buffalo Bills at New York Jets.
Rico wasn't lying about last week being a must-win for the Jets because they lose to the Patriots that they should have probably.
You made fun of me
beat.
for picking the Patriots early in the text thread when
You
the Jets
right.
were up like 6-0.
But
what
now
happened?
you gonna lose to the Patriots and you about to get demolished by the Buffalo Bills. Like the season's over for them.
And they are going to get demolished by the Buffalo Bills.
Bills
That
win.
is the.
I mean, I got Josh Allen for 7 touchdown passes. So, in
That's
that
a
game,
lot.
To Gabriel Davis. Gabe's going to get 5 of them.
I hope McKenzie gets a couple.
Everyone got Bills.
Bills.
Yeah.
No.
Colts at Patriots.
Patriots. Don't even keep going.
Patriots. Dolphins at. That's another one you got wrong, I think, by the way. Dolphins at Bears. You fell off that Dolphin bandwagon, and they got
Dolphins
better.
suck,
They got
bro.
better
Dolphins
real
don't suck.
quick.
What you mean?
I'm gonna pick the Dolphins in this one, but Dolphins
Wait a minute.
suck.
What? Who?
Dolphins suck.
Where?
Man. Y'all roll with this all you want, but the Dolphins are still the Dolphins. Let's not do that. I don't care what they accidentally win and they fought. Stop.
They got fire.
Stop it.
Fire offensive players.
I was gonna say,
Him, Tyreek Hill makes Tua look like Tua sometimes just to throw it. He just throw the ball.
That's kind of the point.
But that,
No.
guess what? But Tyreek Hill's going to be out there to
That's
catch
the
it.
point.
That's exactly the model.
That's like the point. Like
And
you know
Jaden
what?
and Waddle too.
Hold on. Waddle he throws dimes to.
Oh, don't do that.
Next game. Let's go home.
Who'd you pick?
The Dolphins.
I'm picking Bears.
I
just
want to pick the
because.
Bears because they played really good against the
Wait,
Cowboys.
is it Claypool just went to the Bears, right?
I'm going Bears.
so.
I changed it Bears. I'm going Bears.
I'm still going Dolphins.
I'm
Dolphins.
going Bears.
Nah.
Dolphins don't know how to play
I think
in
the
other
Dolphins
weather.
win, but I gotta just. It looks like one of those switch it up games.
I pick Bears.
Packers at Lions.
Oh, now that's the worst game of the week.
I'm picking Lions. I don't care what y'all say.
I'm definitely picking Lions.
I'm gonna pick Lions.
Packers is out of here.
The worst game of the week is this next game: Chargers at Falcons. The teams that you hate the
Falcons.
most in the entire league.
I'm picking the Falcons.
I'm picking Chargers.
Chargers suck.
The Chargers should win by 7 touchdowns, but I'm gonna pick Falcons, and I don't even know why.
I'm picking Chargers.
Josh Herbert is a fraud.
Josh Herbert, man.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert,
freak.
whatever.
He said Joshua Herbert.
He ain't got no receivers.
Wait, is
What
Keenan
else?
Allen back?
He
got
was
Carter.
last week, but then I feel like he went out the game.
Yeah, I didn't really see him
Or
play
2
that
weeks
much.
ago, whenever they last
Keenan
played.
Allen is a fraud too.
When he played against us, and we should have
Smoking
won.
ding dongs.
Man, fam, you can't play 27% of the season every year. Like, I don't care how. I
last
don't
two
care.
seasons he's been good. I had him on fantasy.
I don't care how good you are when you play. I gotta be able to count on you when we need you, fam. That cat is always hurt.
Y'all should have never traded Amari, you know.
Fam, we shouldn't have traded Emmitt Smith to the Cardinals. There's a lot of things the Cowboys shouldn't have did.
Yes. I'll pick Falcons. Seahawks at Cardinals. The MVP train.
I gotta be honest with y'all. I gotta pick Seahawks.
I'm gonna
Geno
go
Smith
Seahawks.
is playing out of his mind.
Somebody asked earlier today, comeback
balled
player
out.
of the year, Geno or somebody else, and I was like, "Fam, did y'all really ask that question?"
That's not even a question.
Geno Smith is the comeback career of the year, and
Geno
that doesn't even make
Smith.
any
Career of the
sense.
decade.
but-
Should be considered in the MVP talks.
yes, correct.
Let alone comeback player of the year.
I think it was somebody who came off of torn ACL or something, like a receiver
Fam.
or somebody. I can't think of who.
He may get to the playoffs soon. He may get to the Super Bowl. All right.
I mean, they shouldn't, but they've been playing pretty well.
I got
so
Seahawks.
Yeah, Seahawks.
I pick the Seahawks.
Kyler is trash.
Rams at now. This is the worst game of the week. Rams at Buccaneers. You want to talk about a game that's destined to be 9-8?
Can
Buccaneers.
Oh,
Has to be. He's going to get over her at some point.
But come on, man. I'm over it.
Buccaneers.
Every game, if you can say now this is the worst game, that's how bad the season is.
Oh, season's one.
I mean, what do you
Outside of
expect?
3 teams.
It's not my fault.
Go ahead.
Titans at Chiefs.
Chiefs by 30.
Probably Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Easy. Ravens at Saints. Ravens by 9 touchdowns. Saints suck. I have no idea how they did that last week. Josh McDaniels is the worst coach in NFL history. Saints watched a little bit of tape and we're like, we know exactly what you do.
I'm gonna go Saints.
Oh, really?
I don't trust the Ravens though.
Oh, Lamar's been
You
on
never
it.
trust the Ravens,
Sorry.
but Lamar is Lamar.
Lamar's been on it.
What else?
And the teams that are on buys, because we didn't say this recently, Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, the Giants, San Francisco, and Pittsburgh.
That's it. All the games.
Yep.
All
All
right.
them other teams on buys.
You want to do releases or no?
Nope.
All right. Don, appreciate you coming through.
Always. You already know.
Appreciate you coming through too, George. All right, let's go home. That's just thing.
You're a moron.
Bye.